Hey. It's Tasty Tuesday time with Telex and Malt Muser. And good to see you guys. There's James and IC already in the house. Oh, and Cohen too. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the channel. And if you've been here before, awesome. If you haven't before, welcome. And if you enjoy your time, please give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't been already. I appreciate it. Gonna go over a little fun distillery here, Glenrothes. Let me get Malt his invite while I'm thinking about it, because we don't like to forget these things. And let me get that out. What you guys drinking tonight, out of curiosity? Hopefully, you've had a chance to grab yourself a little bit of Glenrothes if you haven't before. Or even if you have before, it's always fun to dabble in them. We'll talk about some of the differences. We just got Malt his invite, so he should be joining us here shortly. Slanchava to Mr. Ben. Always good to see you guys. Yep. Malt's gone his way. Meister French, good to see you. Paul. Yes, it's a Tasty Tuesday with Glenrothes. Never had one before. Well, you are in for, I think, a bit of a treat, depending how you look at it and which bottle you get. For a little Johnny Walker Green tonight. I know there's two versions, if I remember right. There's like I think they call one like an island green. Is that like a little different? If I remember, it's like one maybe slightly spicier than another one. I can't remember which one's which, but I remember them talking about a while back that there were different versions of that. If you know which one you've got, let me know and what you think of it. I've not tried it myself. I've had black many times. Double black is pretty good if I'm in the smoky mood. But I've never really tried any of the other ones, like green or even the blue. I mean, I know it's does pretty well on its own. Doesn't need my thumb of approval or anything, but it wouldn't be bad to try it sometime. Still in the Signet. I love the Signet. That's one of my favorites. That's because I don't usually go into a lot of blended stuff. Compass Bucks, I have done a bunch, but not on the Johnny Walker side. I should probably dabble in some of the other ones. Good to see you, Richie. And welcome here too. And thanks for joining us. You'll find the community is pretty nice, kicked back. And heavily sherry definitely bottle sample, cast strength. That's always good. Drinking an independent Melton Duff. What do you think of it? Give me a little rundown of what you think, and maybe like a out of 5-star type of thing, if you don't mind, just out of curiosity. Alkaline water and not 7 pours like drunken bourbon pockets online do. That sounds pretty bad. Oh, there's an island green I haven't tried. I'm sipping the regular green label. That's cool, man. Is it one of your favorites? Is it like your normal go-to daily sipper type thing? Is that like um, your favorite out of their series, or do you gravitate more towards the black or something else out of just curiosity? New Dram Drinker, good to see you, man. I'm at work, still listening, enjoying the show. Well, definitely a welcome to you guys. Aaron Sherry Cast Bodega. Oh man, their new lineup is really good. Good to see you, Loch Ness. Wow. Picked up the green label because my store had it, and it can be hard to get. It's 15-year statement smooth. It sounds damn good to me, man. I'm all about getting the age statement. Speaking of age statements,
Telex,
how's it going, man?
what's up, brother? Happy Tasty Tuesday, man. How are you?
Yeah, happy Tasty Tuesday. Having fun with got a couple couple new people here on the show, and welcome them in IC 86.
Yeah, I wanted to give IC a special shout out, and because he joined my happy hour for the first time, and it's probably his first time here too. So welcome to the community, friend. We got new Dram Drinker in the house too, who had the fortunate opportunity to join us. I think he's probably going to be in here as well. So that's rad, man.
Very cool. I always love to see the old and the new people. And Alexander Murray, 24-year-old. Yeah, I have had good bottles by them and some, I don't know if I'd say misses, but maybe just not up to par, perhaps. Those are kind of iffy, but I have had some good ones. Glen Keith was a good Alexander Murray. Have you ever had any Alexander Murray bottles by chance, Eric?
We're going to be doing one in a few weeks of a sample I gave you. Linkwood. It's a Linkwood 19.
Oh, I bet that's a good
17.
one.
I also have the Lefroy 12 cast strength Alexander Murray. I've had a few others. They're hit and miss. I had a Bunahaven at one point that I thought was okay, but they're you see them at Total Wine. It's like relatively available. They have them at Costco sometimes even. I don't know about their quality level overall, but they definitely have. They have some good ones. And like I said, the Lefroy that I have and the Linkwood, which we'll try. We won't spoil that, but not bad.
Can't wait, man. Linkwood's one of those under the radar distilleries, I think, because they're used so much in like a lot of blends. But other than the Gordon MacPhail bottles you occasionally see, they're not really all over the place like some of these other guys. So very good.
For the radar distilleries, I mean, take a look at what we're about to drink tonight.
Hell yeah, and it's kind of interesting. I forgot that the Glenrothes distillery is owned by the same guys, Edrington, I believe. The same guys that do Macallan and who's the other one they've got? There's one more, I think, isn't there?
Oh, geez.
That's okay. Let me while you're go ahead and talk about something else. I'll go ahead and bring it up on the side.
I'll talk about something else. So the first one that we're going to take a look at tonight is not their most inexpensive. It is definitely a readily available one. This is around $65, $70 USD. This is the Glenrothes or Glenrothes. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Whiskey Maker's Cut. You will normally see, so their kind of claim to fame in terms of presentation is, these stout, snub little bottles like this. They are 750 mils. And they come in these boxes. They have like a 12-year-old bourbon. They have a bunch of bourbon casks. Chris Beaton's in the house. What's up? This is a sherried version. They have a lot of them in these. This is their presentation. So when you see these, you'll know it's Glenrothes.
And it's Highland Park was the distillery. I couldn't remember.
Highland Park. Well, wow.
It's a big one, too.
How often do we forget Highland Park?
Well, it's funny because whenever I think of Highland Park, I just don't think of it being ran by the same guys that do Macallan and Glenrothes. It's just very weird.
Yeah, true.
But I'm really excited about that. I've heard. I can't remember if I've had this one before. I don't believe I have, but I have heard good things about this specifically. This Whiskey Maker's Cut.
Yeah. I suppose before we get into this, we should, stick with tradition. Anything new, Telex, this week? The last time we talked?
Well, been dabbling into some new for me as far as having my own bottles. Not new as far as the taste, but I've been dabbling into some Dalwhinnie 15, some Cardew 18, and some
Dalwhinnie 15, the Honey Bear.
Yeah, the Cardew 18, the Dalwhinnie 15. There was one more that I was messing with recently. The I can't remember, but they weren't terribly new. I am picking up probably tomorrow. We've already done the committee release of the Scorch, but I do have the limited release that I'm picking up tomorrow. So just
already, huh? Man.
Just for on the side, but I'm not too happy about the price being $130. I think that's a bit steep for a regular release on an Ardbeg.
That's surprising, though. Is that surprising to you?
Well, I mean, painfully maybe not, but I think I've reached my limit. Where's that worth line of iffy juice with no age statement? It's kind of it's kind of a guess on some of these,
So Telex, I gotta say, do you remember? I wanna put us in the time machine for a second.
Okay,
we're gonna go back to some live show, probably in January, maybe December, and probably one back in October. When I was on my soapbox, and what was I saying? I was like, you know what, Telex? Yeah, I like the committee release black, but these prices are BS. They keep going up. I'm not buying the Scorch. I'm not going to pick it up. Mark my words, man. I'm done buying these committee releases from Ardbeg. Well, I bought two. I didn't know when I bought two. Why did I do this? Here's the thing, and I'm sure plenty of our whiskey comrades in the chat follow this or have this happen to them as well. My will is weak, bro. My will is weak. And when I walked into this store, I got so excited by the fact that I saw two Ardbeg Scorch bottles sitting on the shelf in the wild, just sitting there. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
How do I like you? It's like my vision just gravitated towards it. I was like,
it's like when someone sees like real like gold in the wild for the first time, like a big chunk of gold sitting there.
So like I'm like covetous, you know. I'm like, well, I grabbed both of them. They had two left, and I'm holding on to it. I don't even know if I want it yet. I just took them.
You just had to touch it.
I got them in my basket. I was buying some like liqueurs for my bar. I'm getting some gin, and I'm like, I gotta, I'm just gonna keep these with me and let it see how it lands. See how it lands with me, bro. Man, they didn't make it back on the shelf, dude. I worked myself into it, and so once again, despite my protestations and my forceful argumentation and logic, my clear logic, I have two bottles of Scorch Committee Release. Two!
Wow, man.
Yeah, well, here you go, right? This is the world we live in. I'm not going
pull the trigger on the limited release for us at least, too, so now we'll have a little bit to maybe bounce off of and see if maybe we could do a comparison at some point.
Man, you know how it goes, man. You walk into the liquor store and you see... I'm trying to make relationships with I'm in Chicago now, right? I'm trying to make relationships with like new liquor shops, and I'm talking to this guy. There's a place down in Wicker Park, not far from me, man. He's cool as hell. We're talking. He's got two Scorches on the shelf. I'm like, God damn it, to buy these, man. And well, here you go. My will is weak, man. My will is weak. I'm not gonna lie. And I thought I was strong. Thought I was strong after last time. But I liked the black enough. I know some folks don't. I did like the black committee release. The release is another story.
Yeah.
So here we are, and I've failed again. We'll see if I fail again next year. But
I've got a question for you. Let's say this is a hypothetical. I just want to see where your gauge hits.
Yeah.
Let's say you're out in the wild and you're scoping around looking for different bottles, and you see a Macallan Edition 1 for $250 sitting there.
I'd buy every one of them.
You would buy every one of them? Wow, man.
For $250?
Yeah, because it's usually like $500 now, right?
No, it's
was it more?
If you find it for $500, I'll still buy it. Dude,
oh my God.
On secondary market, those are $1,100.
Are you serious?
100%.
I swear, just like less than 6 months to a year ago, I was looking around and I thought I saw them for like $500 or so.
If you see Macallan Edition 2, you could probably sell that for $400.
That's crazy.
And I have a couple, by the way.
That's nuts, man. I enjoyed it. I did have my own bottle of that.
I kept about that, man. Macallan is the Weller. It's the Blantons.
Yeah.
From like the bourbon heads who just buy by label. That's what's going on with those Macallan Edition series. People will pay way more money than they're worth. It is what it is. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yo, if I saw that for $250, I would buy every bottle they had. I would take out another credit card if I had to, and I would sell them all on secondary market for $900 a piece.
Wow, man.
For sure. And I wouldn't even drink one of them. Because there's no way what is in there is worth what I could get from some person who's like, I need this for my collection. I don't give a fuck about the collection.
I just want to drink it, though.
I don't.
Well, man, I've never had the chance to taste this is where I have a problem with the secondary market. Like, I've had the 2 and 3 and 4, and I've had the ones after. I've never had a chance to even see the one. So it's like, instead of making me pay all these crazy ass prices just to try it, I'd give you $100 to try it.
All right, Telex. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna throw it on the gauntlet for you right now. you and I sit down at a table. On the one hand, I have a pile of $950 cash USD.
That looks pretty good.
In the second pile, I have an unopened bottle of Macallan Edition 1 that you have to open. What do you take?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know where you're going with the money being.
You want to open that bottle? That's a $900 bottle. You think that the whiskey in that is going to be so interesting? Or
no, I just want someone to take my
$900.
No, I just want someone to take my $100 so I can take the bottle and just drink it. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to try to make any money off of it. I don't want to try to. I mean, I might even give like a lot of it away just to give my friends a chance to say they tried it. But I don't want to spend $200+ on a bottle that's only worth $100. That's where I get.
You're spending a lot more on it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's killing me that you can't get some of these nice, whiskeys without paying. And it's not just a markup. These guys are going like 10 times the markup. That's what kills me.
You think it's bad with Scotch? You should see it with bourbon. It's insane with bourbon.
I don't get it, man, because that stuff is not rare.
My God, man, this is a good topic for another time. But yes, I agree with you in theory, and I personally would not want to be the person to contribute to it. But I'm a working person.
I hear you.
$900 fucking for a
if you're willing to sell,
I will sell every one of them they want.
And Dustin's right. I mean, it is a lot of work, but I don't think it's.
I mean, it's
not worth.
You gotta go to FedEx or wherever or whatever. You have to figure out a way to get it there.
It's not worth $200, $300 plus over the markup price for it. I mean, 9 times is nuts.
Dude, there's no way it's worth that. But
well, what kills me is I don't mind giving somebody $50 or $100 more for finding something rare. But once you go above $50, $100 extra, I'm like, geez, man, it's crazy.
Man, but you're talking about the distillate, the actual whiskey. It's worth what people will pay for it. And if people pay that much money for it, then that's what it's worth. And
I'm just surprised though, because the quality is not there.
People want to have all the 1 through 6 on the shelf. That's just what it is. And if I found them, I'm happy to oblige for a good price.
I want 1 through 6 down here.
I will buy 3 bottles of Lafroy 25 or Brooklotti Blackheart or some single cast 33-year-old Glenallachie, whatever, Glendronach. Take it. Fucking take it. I don't care.
I want the 1 through 6 down here. I want all of the 6 in my belly.
Yeah. I feel you. I want to taste it, but I won't open it if someone's going to give me $900 for it.
I hear you. It just pisses me off that I can't get a chance to try it because of.
They only did 6,500 bottles of it. So the edition one is also small amount. Yeah. It's not like the last one where there's tons of them.
I guess at least they figured out.
Happy Van Winkle is the craziest of the crazy. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I just can't. Just give me the drink.
Sell it within seconds. I would sell the Pappy within seconds. I don't care. I've had some Pappies. I have a Pappy 23 sample. I've had them. They're good, but they're not thousands of dollars good.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have the 23, all the years of the Pappy when it was before it went crazy, and I just don't get into the whole wheat whiskey thing. I guess is my
I don't
downfall.
either, but it is what it is, man. It's we're just people. I can't turn down that much money for a fucking bottle of whiskey. There ain't no whiskey worth that money.
Yeah. Well,
okay. There's
100.
Yeah, I don't want to pay
100-year-old White Horse Lagavulin or something crazy like right off the first run of Lagavulin. I might pay a little money for that.
Yeah, totally.
Let's get into this, man.
Yeah, speaking of non-100-year Lagavulins, here's what we got going on here for our first tasting tonight. Glenrothes, whatever you want to call it. This is called the Whiskey Maker's Cut. As I mentioned earlier, you will find Glenrothes on the shelf in most liquor stores in these stout, snub little bottles, which I kind of like. They are 750 mils here in the States. They come in a packaging thing like this. The Whiskey Maker's Cut in particular This one is a little pricier than their introductory stuff. This is about a $65 bottle. This one in particular, it is bottled at 48.8%. And the reason for that is the whiskey maker's cut is, this is supposedly a whiskey that is crafted by the master distiller himself, who thinks that 48.8 is the optimal, perfect ABV for a whiskey. There is no age statement on this. This is all natural color, and it is all first fill sherry seasoned oak casks. So it's a sherry bomb. It's natural color, as you can see. It's got, fairly dark.
Yeah.
It's not as dark as some sherry bombs, but it's pretty dark. 48.8%. Let me just see if there's anything else on here. So this is, it's presented as kind of like a, something that was, worked on by the whiskey maker himself. That it's not just the regular stuff. This is readily available, though, I will say. Not much else. Yeah, it is a natural color. It doesn't say anything about chill filtration, so it's probably chill filtered. That's the tail of the tape here on the Glenrothes Whiskey Maker's Cut.
I wonder if they do a lot of business in Asia. Maybe that's why they do the chill filtering thing. I've been trying to wrap my head around why would you go bother to do the natural color and be all, crafty about that piece, but not the chill filtering. And the only thing I could think of is that Far East market that we've heard about recently. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, hey, they apparently think they know more than we do. So, yeah.
Bastards.
That's what it is. It is what it is.
Keep your filtration out of my whiskey.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, but this is from the Speyside region. This is what the presentation looks like in its full presentation. And yeah, so this is around, close to a cask strength whiskey.
I love the ABV. I think he was actually right with the 48.8 being like a sweet spot for ABV. For me, it's like, if it's not cask strength and it's a core release, man, that is pretty perfect, I have to say.
Yeah. And what I think is going to be really interesting, Telex, as you and I get into the tasting on this, is you mentioned who the owners of this whiskey are, what the big corporate conglomerate is that owns this. I think we're going to have a really interesting conversation about this whiskey. So,
nice.
it is a full seasoned first fill Oloroso sherry. Let's get into it.
And just a question to the folks here in the chat while we're going through the notes here. I'm curious, what I noticed about Glenrothes is they like to do vintage statements rather than a flat. I mean, they do have flat years, but they also have the whole 2004, 2017 release. Do you prefer a vintage release with the age statement or just a flat like 12, 15, 18, 21, 25 age statement, and why? And for me, I can say I'm kind of lazy, so I like a flat number, like a 12, 18, because I know what I'm getting. I don't have to sit there and do math to try to figure out, how many years, and I can see it on the cover. And I'm, it's as long as there's not a whole lot of batch variations. I like the consistency. If it is a consistent year release, I just want to go get that Eller Dice or that Parliament and know what I'm getting. But what do you guys think when it comes to vintage versus age statements? What about you, Eric?
Yeah, that's a great question. For the most part, I like the vintage statement, and I particularly am thinking about the unfortunate change with Ball Blair.
Yeah.
I like the uniqueness. Now, I understand as a business, it makes probably a lot more sense to just have a consistent product. And so, I get it. Ball Blair sales, from what I understand, have dropped considerably since they just went to this generic age statement. But I don't think that that's a rule. I think they're an exception because they were with something else. I'd like to see a hybrid model, to be honest.
Yeah, same
I would
here.
like to see a core range that a whiskey distiller, Ball Blair, hint. Let's put out a 12, let's put out a 15, an 18, whatever. But then also continue with some vintage releases, because I think it's two different markets of people for the most part, and there's something to be enjoyed about all of them. I like the vintage statement. My review coming out this Friday is something that does have a vintage statement and also has the age statement on it, which is interesting.
That's what I prefer. I like to see them do both. Like
Yeah.
Stephen Connor is right. Like with the single cast from Glendronach, I think they usually put a year on it, but I'd like to be able to see a year and an age. That way, I don't have to sit there doing the math in the whiskey out, and I know exactly what I'm getting from a distance. That's beautiful, I think. But I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, look, any type of age statement is better than none, and we agree on that. But I think that, I mean, there are some distilleries, the Ball Blair stuff in particular, I would like to see them all kind of do a hybrid approach in an ideal world.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see pluses and minuses to have it all together on one hand, or split them up like you're saying and have like a hybrid thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into some notes, I guess, here.
Yeah, here's the color, which is natural.
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely got some of the red hue of his sherry, but I mean, it's not overly dark.
It's got some nice slow running legs. They're not too crazy. It's not too what you don't see like a lot of small beating and that kind of thing. It's It's actually I don't think it's going to be overly young, even though it's not got an age statement on it.
Yeah. So Telex, I mean, these are my pours, so you get to go first on these, but I definitely want to just say one thing at the onset because you set it up so perfectly earlier. You mentioned the owners of this distillery and the other things they own. Take one sniff off this and tell me if you were drinking it blind, what you would think it was.
If I'm blind, okay.
You were drinking it blind and you took one smell off the nose and you had to guess the distillery, what would you say?
Oh my. I mean, the sherry's definitely like in your face there, and not a bad way. It does have what I would consider, man, it smells more like a Macallan than it does a Glenrothes.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. If you poured this blind for me, I'd be like, oh, is this a Macallan 12 sherry oak? The nose on this I've never noticed something from a distillery smell so much like another one than this in a Macallan. It smells like a Macallan, and it's unmistakable for me. So I figured that you were going to say that.
The style of sherry is definitely there. The only thing I would say is different than the Macallan 12 to me, the sherry oak versus this one is. This one to me might have a little bit more of like the first note with the sherry that I got was a definite like a chestnut walnut kind of a flavor.
Interesting.
But with like combined with some sweet cinnamon spice. It was like it's very complex to me like right off the gate, which is kind of surprising being a no age statement, but I think the ABV is helping out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that. I get much more of like what I would say is closer to like a sweet Piax. Like it's very maraschino cherry liqueur. It's like a Luxardo. It's very like sweet strawberry. But I do get a little depth to it.
Now I do get I know what you're saying with the sweetness there. It's this weird, like I'm also getting like this, that's why I said walnut, because it's almost like like a slight bitterness, not a bad bitterness, but just enough to break the sweetness just a little bit. Maybe some wood, like definitely getting the oak properties on this too heavy.
Yeah.
It's got some darkness to it. It's got some like it's not as deep as chocolate, but it's got like a cocoa nib kind of thing going on.
Maple syrup, maybe?
Yeah.
I definitely get maple syrup in this.
Yeah.
Honey. But it's not molasses. It's not that light. And which I think, again, might be a young whiskey. It's unclear. Yeah, I do get a little ethanol. Cinnamon.
I like this little earthiness I'm getting at in the nose. Even I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's like is there any smokiness to this at all? Is there like a smoky property going on? Maybe I don't think
not
there
that I'm
is.
detecting. I mean, it's all first fill season sherry.
it's like a slight, like not no peat by any means, just like a slight, almost like a smoky note I'm getting off this.
I kind of see what you mean. I'm getting it's sweeter for me. It's more like I was saying, maple syrup or like caramelized sugar. But I know what you're saying.
Oh man. Well, Cilantro guys, I have to have a taste of this stuff.
Do it. Cilantro, happy Taste Tuesday.
Wow. Okay. Hmm. It's not as sweet as I thought it was going to be. Interesting.
No, it's not.
It's definitely more on like a woody. It's got a woody bite to it. Hmm.
Sappy caramel. Like chocolate. Like, well, it's not chocolate. It's almost like a almond coffee type thing. For first fill sherry is kind of an interesting I feel like the palate is very different than the nose.
Yeah, the nose is a hell of a lot sweeter because I'll be honest, like the nose to me is like a combination of a Oloroso and a PX, like you said, but the taste is definitely all like more like on the date, fruit, figgy, but not thick. It's kind of like a syrupy paste kind of a feel to it.
Yeah. You ever had a Fig Newton?
Yeah. It's like that. It's definitely got that Fig Newton.
It's not a whiskey, it's a Newton.
Yeah, it's weird how different the palate is than what I thought it was going to be versus the nose, and it's not bad per se. It's just so different. I'm debating knowing if I like this or not. To be honest with you, it's definitely not on the sweet end by any means. It's got some nice vanilla, a little bit of a little bit of like a briny, but it's not briny. I guess it's a little salt, but it's not. It's more like white peppery, I guess.
I know. I see what you're saying. On like, there's a little bit of like a kind of a salty, like almost like in a Gatorade, where you're like want to have like a fruit punch Gatorade. I'm not saying this tastes like that. I'm saying like that element of it,
Yeah, like the back. Yeah, like a white peppery back end kind of.
It's a little bit. Yeah, it's abrupt. It's sharp. It's
definitely on the more bitter end.
Yeah.
Say again?
Sharp isn't the right word. It's more just kind of like there's a little bit of a bitterness.
Yeah, no, I thought sharp was good because when I think of bitter, I do think of like a sharp kind of like a little bit of a bite.
Yeah, I don't feel like it. I don't get as much bite as I do like more of like a gingerbread, like that kind of thing. Not pickled ginger, more like a grainy anise, black licorice.
Yeah, I'm getting like a little bit. I'm getting a bit of wood with it though too. As I think it's where I'm getting that kind of like I'm not sure what to call that, but like almost like a woody wood chips is what I'm thinking.
Woody wood chips.
Woody wood chips.
Good old woody wood chips.
Sorry, I add a little water to it to see if we can get anything else.
Yeah, I'm doing the same.
Excuse me for a second. Having a little coffee fit. 1 second. Had to mute myself for a second. All right, let's see what we get with a couple drops here. I just put like 2 drops, small.
Yeah, I did 2 as well, actually. So.
Before the water and the finish, it was pretty abrupt too. It didn't really linger very much. It's got kind of a nice caramelization, like caramelized bacon kind of a taste.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
I'm not sure how long it really lasted for. I mean, it's kind of... Did it seem kind of short to you before the water?
Yeah, it was like medium.
Medium?
Yeah, I mean closer to medium, but not above medium. And you're right on the caramelized bacon. I mean, it is. I don't get as much smokiness, but like there's a salty. There's like kind of like a caramelized, like a Carolina barbecue sauce.
Still, I'm getting definitely more spice on the nose after the water, I think.
Yeah, it's toned down that bright sherryness for sure. I feel like the nose is much more in line with what the palate tasted like meat with water.
You nailed it exactly. It's got kind of almost like a danky leather thing going on. What happened?
Andrew Page said Woody Wood Chips would be a good name for a SMWS release.
That's true. I might have to charge them for that.
That's good. That's good. Copyright that shit.
If there was a way, I'm sure when someone's already got a patent on that, I'm sure you know how that goes. Yeah, I mean, like it's got like a medium grade, like cinnamon, like big red gum kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I get just a ton of maple syrup, man. Maple syrup, dark clover honey.
Ooh, dark clover honey.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It gets very honey. Like you were talking about Dalwhinnie 15 earlier.
Yeah.
Like, if this was like the yang to the yang, the yin of the brightness and kind of sweetness of the honey on that, this is like the dark honey side of a Dalwhinnie 15.
That's true. All right, let's see what we get here.
Let's do it.
Okay. Definitely more of a little spice kick. It's like a combination of like cinnamon and medium brown sugar, I guess. It's definitely extends the finish, which I do enjoy. It's definitely a little sweeter, thankfully. By much, I'm not sure how. Thankfully, it got rid of that bitterness, though.
Oh man, nice. Like vanilla. You said white pepper. Like there's a nice it's like vanilla bean. Very clean vanilla note. There's a caramely just stickiness to this whiskey. Very sticky.
There's even a little bit of what is that? It's not as thick as black pepper, but there is like this nice kind of dark spice ending to this. What is that?
Clove? No, not clove. It's not as intense. Maybe a little bit, like the chalkiness on the tongue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like after you smoke a clove. It's like after you smoke a clove cigarette, the finish of like a clove cigarette type of finish. I think this does, even though it's not a peated whiskey, I think it does have like a slight smoky ash to it that's giving it that kind of, I don't know, it's definitely not nowhere near like as smoky as like an Ardbeg would be, but it's got like a, almost like a little speck hint, like almost like a matchstick of like a Highland Park type of thing is what it reminds me of. Not as intense as a Highland Park 12 on the peat, but it's definitely got like a smoky level to it. What is that? Let's go back for a neat little look. See here. Have you guys had the Whiskey Maker's Cut, and what did you think of it? Just out of curiosity.
You know, I one thing I'm noticing, and water neat, I felt like it tasted younger than it does with water. I feel like water really extended that finish. Again, it's a strange finish. It's not a finish you necessarily expect. And I think this is something we're going to get into in our final comments on this whiskey, that there's just something a little different about this than the way it's presented. But yeah, I do feel as though there's like an element of, just like a little bit of like a, it's extended a little bit. There's a little like of a caramel. Like, God, the fact that there's no bourbon in this is like weird.
It is strange because it does taste like it's like a hybrid of a bourbon cask that's finished with a sherry or something. But this is more in, like you said, this is like first fill sherry oak. The oak, I mean, it's definitely, I guess it's because the seasoned cast. Maybe that's the difference.
Well, yeah, that's the big piece.
They do use some PX with it, so this is probably a hybrid of PX and Oloroso, if I had to make a guess.
Yeah, it just says first fill sherry. It doesn't say what type of sherry.
It just says named for the process for drying grapes when making some sherry
Well,
styles
I
like
feel
PX.
validated then because I picked up some damn PX. I felt like there was PX happening on this.
I bet you there's a little bit of, I mean, even though they don't say, I bet you there's a little, at least some PX and Oloroso in this, because I'd be surprised to have the sweetness that we got on the nose and the Oloroso-esqueness we got on the palate for there not to be at least some of both in this. I don't know. I wish they were a little more open about their recipe.
I mean, don't we always though? Hey.
Yeah. This is a very tough whiskey to analyze because it's like, wow. I think I'm ready to give some thoughts. What do you think?
Go for it, brother. Again, so like, yeah, just again, this is the Glenrothes Whiskey Maker's Cut, 48.8% natural color. That's what we know. It is first filled seasoned sherry cask. Telex, what's the word?
I love the fact that the presentation's there. You know, the coloring, the natural coloring, I should say, is there. Wish they were a little more upfront about the chill filtering, but you know, it's just one little knock. They're upfront about it being an NAS, so you know, it is what that is. But I mean, it would be great to see a 12-year version of this. I love the 48.8% ABV. That I would not change a bit. I do love the fact they're using first fill sherry, even though they call it seasoning. I'm not sure how that differs from like a finishing or a maturation type of thing, but it says it's aged entirely in the oak process and natural color. So
it's definitely not a finish. Yeah,
it's definitely maturation. Yeah,
it's definitely maturation. But the seasoning could be that they, you know, seasoned the cask with the paste as opposed to like bought sherry cask, you know, which may have something to do with the fact this is about a $65, $70 whiskey.
That's the thing. It's like the price is right, the ABV is right. Wish it had an age, wish it had the chill filtering, so there's a couple of knocks on that one. But I enjoyed it more, like you said, with the water for the palate / finish. The initial palate and nose, though, I like it with just neat, which is interesting. It's almost it's funny. It's almost like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, like Two-Face kind of whiskey to me. It's like the first part, the initial nose and the initial palate is definitely best neat, and then the second half of it, the second part of the palate and the finish is better with the water. So it's tough to enjoy for me that way consistently. I like the fact I can play with it though to get it where I'm feeling at the time. So that's kind of cool. Is it above average? That's where I'm kind of, because there's some faults that are definitely like glaring here, but it is an enjoyable whiskey, and that's what makes it tough for me to grade and to determine if it's even a 3-star. I've been teetering at 2.75 to 3, and because there are elements that I really do enjoy about it that balance out the things that I don't enjoy, as far as the second half of that palate neat with the finish, I'm going to sit at a 3. It's a good 3. I love the price, even though I don't factor it in. What about you, man?
Yeah, 3 is solid. I'm a little more bullish on this whiskey. Despite some of the flaws that I think you mentioned, I really like the ABV. I like the full flavored nature of this. I think it's at a decent price. There's not a lot of other ones in that price point. I do think that the sherry, first fill sherry nature of the way it's presented versus how it tastes is a little bit different. You know, it's an interesting one. It's enjoyable. I don't know if it meets what it's advertised as outside of on the nose, which again I think smells like a damn Macallan. The nose on this is the most Macallan nose you'll have.
That's
I,
true.
I defy anybody to say otherwise. I think it's got some good richness to it. It's got good flavor. I think the water really helped. I think in that 65-70 range, if you want a nice sherry whiskey, this has got a little bit more going for it in terms of complexity than maybe like an Aberlour Abana, some of the later releases of that, which are cask strength batch releases. And so I feel like to some degree it rises above that, but it's not a Tamdu. I mean, there are others that I don't think it's even in their league. So, all things considered, Telex, I'm kind of right with you. If at 3 is average, I think I'm going to sit at a 3.2. Hang on, 1 second.
Yeah, might as well have a last sip there.
If you poured this for me blind, I'd go 3.25. But because I know what it is, I feel like I got to sit right there with you at 3, man. I think this is a 3. I think this is solid. I think it's worth tasting. I think that the profile is good. This is not a slouch whiskey by any stretch.
No,
it's just a little different. It's got a little something else happening in it than maybe you would expect. And for me, it's a little bit of a downgrade just because I don't feel like it necessarily meets the moment of what it presents itself as. But it's not bad. Not bad at all. And I think folks would mostly like it. I do enjoy it more than some other Glenrothes that I've had. Yeah, I'll sit comfortably in the 3. I'll go with 3 out of 5 stars on this.
I would definitely preface this with saying that I would not recommend this for any new whiskey drinker that doesn't want to take time to find the sweet spots in it. That's what makes it tough to me, is like if you're coming out and you just want to pour it and enjoy it, this to me is definitely not something I would say would be something to pick up. But if you don't mind spending a little time with the whiskey and getting it to where you like it, since it is a bit different after the water and without and with, what do you think on that note?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I think this is good. I really think that the majority of us would score this maybe a tick higher if we drank it blind, not knowing what it was. I think that knowing the description of this makes us kind of orient ourselves towards expecting certain things that we're not necessarily getting in its fullness or what we would expect. I also think it's a little bit on the young side.
Yeah.
But all that said, for a distillery that by most standards, I guess, would say puts out a mediocre, or not mediocre, but medium level product.
Right.
It doesn't have anything that's like stands out and shines. I mean, this is probably the shining star of their distillery. Yeah, I mean, I'll give it an average score. I'm with you on a 3. So we'll sit at 3. So the 3s across the board, Telex and Malt Muser on the Glenrothes Whiskey Maker's Cut. Not a bad whiskey. Definitely worth trying. You may really like the way this lands, but it's not.
Yeah, if you're not like if you're the opposite of me and like your whiskeys not to have sweetness, this would be one that I would definitely recommend, because it doesn't have a very much sweetness going on with the palate per se. Other than with the water, it does help a bit. But if you do like your whiskeys on the more, not really ultra bitter, but slightly bitter, maybe a little slightly briny, slightly, kind of well balanced, then I'd say it's definitely worth a try on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to break the bank necessarily for most folks, but I do think, like, I'm trying to think, Telex, okay, you want a nice cherry bomb, you want to spend $65-$70. What would you recommend to like kind of supplant this, right? The first thing that comes to mind for me, while it's like maybe a tick higher in the 75-80 range, is like a Glenallachie E15, which isn't amazing, but it's pretty damn good.
That is damn good.
I mean, I'm thinking of something cheaper, which I think actually delivers pretty well, which is Naked Grouse. I feel like there's some in there, like it's got some more heft than a lot of the like, $50-$60 ones, which I think gives it some separation. But at the same time, yeah, I think there are some out there. Do you have any that come to mind for you that you would say like, yeah, this might be the way to go?
As far as like 65 to 75,
like $70 range. You're looking for a nice sherry whiskey.
I mean, it's hard to pass up the Glenrothes 12 if it's not chill filtered.
Wow, right.
If you can grab a bottle of the Glenrothes 12 that's not chill filtered and get it for 65 to 75 still, then I would say that would be an awesome deal. But it is hard to find a really nice. I mean, I would definitely get that above a Abelauer 12 any day. I mean, I would definitely skip that.
Most definitely.
As far as the heavily sherry stuff, another really good one. It's a little more pricey, but it's an outstanding sherry dram. Is the Bladnock Adela 15 at 110 to 120? That is a lot more, but that's what's tough. It's like to get a really good sherry for 65 to 75 outside of the Glenrothes 12, and something like this it's really hard to find.
Yeah.
What do you guys think as far as?
I'm gonna run and get a water refill quick, and then we'll jump into the other one. So I'll be right back.
No problem, man. Yeah, the Glenrothes 15 for 80 is definitely probably one of the best deals. But I would say one of the Glenellichies might be a better deal after all the Glenrothes BS that's been going on. Tamdhu 12, Tamdhu 15 is also. But batch 1, really, if you can find a Tamdhu batch 1 of their cast strength versions, I would probably go before any of the other ones, even the 15 maybe. The 15 versus a batch 1, batch 2, I would love to see a shootout between those two Tamdhus. What do you guys think of, let me pull it in here. What do you guys think of... I've been having my eye on Glenrothes, and I'm trying to get like a high age statement and something that makes sense. The Glenrothes 18 for about 135 versus the Glenrothes 25. Now, that's the problem. Glenrothes doesn't have a 21-year distillery bottle in between. I would much rather have that probably than the other two, but my only options are 18 and 25. Is the 25 worth the price? And that's crazy up there. It's like $500-$600 if you're looking at that versus the 135 for the 18. Would you just get the Glenrothes 18, or would you think the difference between the 25 is worth it? What do you guys think? Let me know if you've had those two. I'm really curious. $78 Canadian for the Aaron Sherry Bodega. That's a good probably a good face-off that would probably win, I'm sure, against something like this Whiskey Maker's Cut, possibly. I'd like to see what you guys think. Has anyone had both, and is the Sherry Bodega much better for that same kind of similar price? K&L has Sherry Monsters all the time for cast strength at $50 to $75 and usually age stated. Are they, but I have a feeling they're independent bottlings, Cohen, or are they distillery bottles? I'm just curious which one we're talking about here. If they're K&L picks, it's probably their own little single casks or something like that. Let's see.
Alex, I would recommend with that second Glenrothes that we pour it now and let it get some oxygen.
Yeah, I just did that a little bit earlier.
Okay,
so
great.
I slightly beat you to the punch on that one.
All good.
I bet their 25 tastes good, Rich, you was saying. I was wondering if, Glenrothes 18 versus 25, I was going to pick us a bottle up, and the 18 runs around 135, the 25 runs like $500-$600, so it's a big difference.
Nah, man. Dude, well, and I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, we're going to get into this 20-year-old relatively soon here, and this might give you some barometer, but, in general, man, I've had limited experience with Glenrothes. I've had their 10-year or the 12-year-old bourbon, the bourbon cast, this Whiskey Maker's Cut. I got this exclusive 20-year-old. This is not, and we'll see. We'll talk about the 20, but this isn't a distillery that's getting me excited to buy an older bottle. I'm not excited to buy a 25-year-old Glenrothes. I'm not excited to buy a 18-year-old. I'm not. I don't. I haven't felt compelled by their core range that this is something that I want to spend a lot more money on. Mostly because they have a distinct style, and I think it came through in the Whiskey Maker's Cut that it's a little middling. It's like if you blended a Morlock and like two other things together, it just doesn't have. It's not very unique, and it doesn't really just bring a lot to the forefront. I'm not overly impressed with their core range. Now, this independent bottling we're gonna do, we'll have a chat about. But for me, yeah. I mean, I've seen the 18-year-old. I've seen the 18-year-old at good prices. I'm just like,
Have you seen it under 135?
That I don't know, but probably close. I mean, probably somewhere in that range. But I'm still just kind of like.
I hear you.
I want that a bourbon cask, 18-year-old Glenrothes, 43%. I don't know. It doesn't. It's not exciting me. Is what I'm saying.
What kills me is the whole lock in at 43% ABV. If they were a little more adventurous and had a 46 to 48 at a higher age, that might be very beneficial in the corner for that.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll pick up the 18 and just move on and go from there. But
yeah, I mean, I'd love to see what the 18 tastes like. I just don't have high expectations.
It's just you guys are kind of iffy on. I mean, I know Dustin was saying he's got an independent bottling that's a 20. Caden said that's really one of the best, easily the best non-sherry bottle he owns, and it's not even peated. I guess I'll just go 18 and put that as my bar, and then move on to get the independent bottle of that makes sense and go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, we're gonna jump into a totally different dimension of the Glenrothes distillery. Yeah, it does totally, Richie. Yeah, I agree. We're gonna be jumping into something that is a much different animal in terms of what you can expect from Glenrothes.
33.72, man. It'll be open for his 50th birthday next year. 43%, but hey, there are some beauties out there that can still rock at 43% if they got a good, cask going on. If it's that old, man, it's got to be pretty decent, you would think.
Totally.
Yeah, move to Cali and have more choices in whiskey. That's the only thing. That's the only reason I moved to California, though, dude. I'm not a sunshine beach kind of guy. I moved there for the whiskey only.
Yeah, the whiskey's compelling.
It is tempting, man.
Yeah, it really is, no doubt about it. All right. Yeah, I mean, I just, I like checking out some of these. As you go along in your journey, and I think this is, Telex, you might have felt this way, as you went along in yours, especially in those kind of getting out of the early stages, you like to try new stuff. I mean, and I found some that I tried without any knowledge of anybody else's opinion and really enjoyed. I'm thinking of things like Ball Blair. Ball Blair was one of those that I tried, and I was just like, holy cow. It's a distillery that when you don't know much about single malts, you just know the big name brands. You don't try as much. Oban was another one. I mean, I remember having the Oban, I don't remember which one it was now, Little Bay or something. And I was like, wow, this is surprisingly interesting. There's just some distilleries out there that just don't they're not. Deedston is another example, right?
Oh, yeah.
They don't land on the radar, but as must tries when you're first going on your journey. But as you kind of go along, you get the opportunity to try new things, try different things, and maybe you pick up something that looks interesting from a distillery you don't know, and you're pleasantly surprised. And, Bunnahabhain was one of those for me. When I was first into Scotch, it was I knew Lafroig, I knew Ardbeg, I knew Lagavulin. And then I remember there was other Islay Scotch called Bunnahabhain, and I was like, I don't even know how to say it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I bought the 12, and I was angry because there was no peat. I wanted it to be a big peat bomb.
Give me that bunny whiskey over there.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what this is. But then I started really liking it. I just saw Andrew Page drop Annock. Yeah, Annock is one of those. Yeah, definitely, right? Yeah, oh yeah, the 18 and the 24 are awesome. There's these ones that as you go along and you push yourself to try new things, you're pleasantly surprised. And look, Glenrothes is an example of Yeah, it's not something that like for any newbie getting into Scotch, everybody's going to be like, "Oh man, you got to try the Glenrothes 12. Oh, you haven't lived until you've had that." Like you do with the Highland Park or something like that. Like it's not one of those distilleries,
All
but
right.
you might find that it suits your palate really well, and that's kind of what the fun part of all of this is, especially when you're starting out and not spending hundreds of dollars on a bottle. So it is kind of fun. And Louise picked up another Anac 24. Hell yeah, that was my whiskey of the year last year, man. That is a killer bottle. And I just hope they don't destroy it like they've done to some others in their range, Old Paul and Paul Blair. But anyways,
One I've had recently was the 2004 up there. That was actually pretty decent. I'm trying to think. This was like I want to say it was a 13. Let me pull it out real fast and see, without knocking all the bottles off, what we got here. This one was actually pretty decent. It was a 2004 bottled in 2017. It was like one of those vintage malt series deals. This one was actually fairly decent if you are looking for something that is off the core, not quite a core range bottle, but something that was actually pretty tasty. But yeah, we'll have to see how this goes on the some of these other ones.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. Uh-oh. Yeah, the 18 and 24, man. Louisa just got another 24. If you guys keep buying all of them, we're not going to see any left. But hopefully they'll keep selling it at the decent price that you can find those for.
Definitely.
All right, I guess let's talk about this 20 year from.
Here we are. So yeah, it is our number 2, and we're going to jump into something a little bit more on the rare side, so to speak. So we got another Glenrothes here that we're going to be trying. This is the Glenrothes, and it comes in a box like this, kind of fancy. Look at the gold. It's got gold on it. Can't go wrong. This is from the Creative Whiskey Company. That is the bottler. This is part of what is called the Exclusive Malts series. And
You've had these before, right?
I've had 1 or 2 before, yeah. And so as you can see here, it's a little bit of a different bottling. It's an independent bottling. This Glenrothes in particular is from 1996 is when it was distilled, October 21st. There are only 285 bottles. This is cask 14. It is bottled at 54.5% ABV, and it is all refill sherry hogshead. So once again, we're getting another sherry-influenced one. The world of exclusive malts, they give you a little thing on it that tells you all about the colors of the label actually indicate something about it, which we'll forego for now because we don't want to spoil the fun. But yeah, so we're looking at an independent bottling. I like the shape of these bottles. They got this kind of like weird medallion thing on it.
Did you like the other exclusive malts that you've had before?
Yeah, I don't remember what the other one was. God. Yeah, it was solid.
You're lucky to pick up that bottle because the this particular exclusive malt series, I've had a lot of their bottles. They are usually really good. They were recently bought out by, I think it was Nika that bought them out to do some reselling overseas. So sadly, we're not going to see any of these exclusive malt bottles anymore. Across the board, they've actually sold the whole company to, I think it was Nika. Did you hear anything about that?
I did not.
That was something that I remember talking with Tom, the guy at Petit Cellars that I buy from. He was mentioning that all the exclusive malt bottles he had, he was like, if you see any that you like, you better pick them up now because you're never going to see them again, kind of thing. I was like, oh man. But just a side note there.
Yeah, that's good to know. So yeah, we're looking at a 20-year-old whiskey here, Telex. So this was bottled in 2016, distilled 1996. Here we go. So 20-year-old Glenrothes. This is the color we were looking at. Again, this is all sherry, but again, look at the color on this. I mean, not exactly, looking like a sherry bomb.
Surprising for 20 years that it isn't a bit darker, but at least they were upfront and told you it was refill sherry, right?
Yeah, yeah. So refill, just so everybody knows, is basically. Hang on, let me make sure I get this right. Refill means third fill. So you have first fill, you have X, which is second fill, and then you have refill, which is third. That's by and large the rule.
Yeah, it's definitely showing not a lot of yeah, it's actually showing pretty good on the holding up the legs there. Ooh, that's a different nose than I expected for it to be a sherry cask. I'm getting more of like a
interesting parallel to the last one, is it not?
It is. It's completely different. I'm getting like a combination of an herbal kind of a herbal note and like a herbal spicy kind of a note. I guess herbal spice.
I agree with you. It
Some
is,
sweetness there.
but I also noticed the similarities between this and the other one, the molassesy maple syrupness.
Yeah, yeah. I do get a little bit of that bacon kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Candied bacon. It does have sweetness there, but man, it's a lot more on the spicy herbal side to me. Get a little tea bag thing, like the Lapsang Souchong kind of thing going on.
Ginger.
Ooh, lots of ginger, yeah.
And then allspice.
Like thick gingerbread, like a
Yeah.
gingerbread cookie kind of
Fresh.
thing.
Like, yeah.
Wow, this is going into like rye bread mode almost. It's very bready, like not
You're
sourdough, but like
nailing it,
rye
man.
bread.
You're totally nailing it. Yeah, absolutely.
It reminds me of those loaves you see that have that swirl of the dark bread and the lighter bread kind of like together. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely got some nice cloves, and I'm getting cloves and a combination of nutmeg. It's got more nutmeg than cinnamon on this one. It's very earthy, bready.
I don't get as much nutmeg as I get much. Well, I get much more of like an allspice clove thing, but I know what you're saying.
Thankfully, this is not as woody as that last one is to me, at least. I'm not getting the heavily woody notes that I was getting off the first one. Some there, but it's not it's in my face. There's definitely like a dankness. I feel like you get the age off this one more. That's which is nice. All right, let's have a little sippy.
Cool.
This is all neat. Ooh, okay. Wow. Okay. This is like wow. This is like pumpernickel rye, man. It's like it's got a nice spice. It does have some sweetness in it too, though. It's like a pumpernickel rye with a little bit of like light brown sugar, some a little bit of white pepper, not much though.
Man, the pepper on this is there, and God, again, that caramel, whatever you want to call it,
Wow.
like stickiness.
And there's still like this like that barley's coming through heavily on this one to me. It's like a very even though it's very well aged, it's got like a mouthful of like malted barley is right there in my face too. This is like one of the breadiest whiskeys I think I've ever had.
Interesting.
I am getting that maple syrup that you brought up.
Yeah, I got a ton of it in this.
Heavily maple syrup. It's like a.
What do
It's
you
not.
think of Yeah.
It's like on the lighter end. It's not like a thick, like dark maple syrup, but it's like a nice, light, sugary maple syrup with spice in it. What is that spice? Wow. It's like fresh cracked pepper or something.
Yeah, there's a little bit of anise too. And rye almost.
Heavily, like it's funny. It's like even though it's not a rye whiskey, it definitely has more of a rye feel than. I mean, the malted barley is there too, but it's like a combination of like if it was 50% malted barley and 50% rye. It feels like that is wild. That is different than anything I've ever had, really. Huh. Would you say it's more floral or herbal? I think I'm getting more herbal notes than floral, right?
I see what you're saying. You ever had Fernet before?
Fernet?
Liqueur, like French, like the liqueur Fernet, where it's like there is an herbalness to this. I mean, it's not extreme. It's not like an absinthe or something, but there is. Again, man, how weird is this for a whiskey that's just advertised as a sherry whiskey? Like in
I didn't get any sherry hardly. It's weird, yeah.
In contrast to the other one, where we were kind of derisive about how it's like not very sherry, with this it's like almost virtuous because it's like so interesting.
That is crazy. I mean, I can see where the sherry's there, but it's such a rye bready whiskey that it's tough to. I'm gonna put a little water and see what I get, but I'm afraid this might make it a spice bomb. It's so spicy up front that adding water might make this a spice bomb. Am I right? Or is it going to be different, you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go into. I think a couple drops is good.
Just to see what we get. I just can't get over how much of that rye honey, spicy, nutmeggy / anisey kind of feel it's got, man. It's intense.
Yeah. And you know what's really interesting about this one, Telex, compared to the other? If you, on the finish, as you breathe in and out, you get a little bit of that dry red fruit sherry note that just kind of like gives it that Christmas quality. It kind of brings it around.
Wow, yeah.
It's not strong, but you know what I'm saying?
You're right. It's got that roasted chestnut open fire kind of feel to it. Wow. Right? This is definitely a different whiskey, man. I'm kind of perplexed in a little way. Huh. Hopefully the spice level doesn't get crazy after the water. I can definitely get it on the nose. I mean, it's definitely intense.
It's good, man. It's good. It's weird, but it's good.
Wow. I think I might even... Wow. Okay. I almost think I might enjoy it more with the water because it does bring out like almost like a bourbon cask kind of quality to the whiskey with all that breadiness still there. And oh man, because it brings waves of like caramelization and that maple syrup gets a little thicker, it gets a little heavier. Wow, okay. Wow, and the finish is really good with the water too. Damn. Shit, this is even tougher to score than the first one. It's crazy. Huh. I'm gonna go back to neat for a second, then I'm gonna go back with the water to see.
Yeah.
This was great about this one being 54.5. You can really take your time, and you don't have to pour very big pours to fill it out.
Spice in this. I mean, sandalwood. You know, like that note that like
I was getting a ton of that,
but you know it's there when you have like a Mizunara. Like, how do you Sandalwood is such a weird thing to describe.
No, you're right. It's earthier than cedar. It's like cedar. Cedar is like kind of sharp and
Yeah, yeah,
sweet. Cedar's sharp and sweet, and sandalwood is a little more like uh, sandy. And it
yeah,
sounds weird
yeah.
to say, but it's like sandy. It's not as sweet. It's a little more like refined. It's a little more earthy, but not earthy as much as like a sage or like a crazy intense herbal thing. It's like it's between the cedar and when you start getting really ultra herbally. It's like a nice in between. I love sandalwood as a note.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a weird like it's hard to describe, right? I mean, it's like you walk into kind of like a tea house, and it's like that's where you notice it. Like it's kind of in the air. It's got a little bit of that smell.
That is so weird, man. It's like
This has also got a nice drying note to it too. I actually don't mind how drying this is.
I'm going back neat, and I'm really enjoying it. I can't decide if I like it neat better or if I like it with water better. They're different experiences, but they're almost the same quality, which is actually really nice to see in this particular whiskey. Those creative people, man, no matter what they put out, they used to put out some really nice stuff like this. And I was lucky enough to have their Highland Park 25 at cast strength. It was from Exclusive Malts. It was $250, dude. Best $250 I ever spent. A 25-year Highland Park cast strength. Can you imagine that?
Fuck, dude. What?
250. 250. Isn't that insane? Like,
I was sent a Highland 25 from Mike at Mike's Whiskey Reviews, and like, oh my god, man, it was like one of the older ones. It was maybe from like, I don't know, 14 or 15. It was so fucking good.
big time, man.
Killer.
Wow. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this, but the more I'm getting into it, the more I'm enjoying it. It's kind of
Yeah, but it's like, why? It's like, it's not, again, like, if you don't know about, like, what we're going through right now, Telex, is like not just like a crash course on two apparently fully sherried whiskeys, but like, we're really like experiencing the Glenrothes distillate, which is a very spicy kind of bourbony, like, distillate. It just, for these to be both fully sherried, these are like no sherry whiskeys you'd normally have.
it definitely seems like it's suffering from identity crisis, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, if you poured this for me and you told me, okay, I'm going to give you a really nice, interesting
Right.
ex-bourbon cask, then you would prefer it better, I think, than if I do serve this as a sherried whiskey. You're going to be kind of like, what the hell? This is not like what I expected. But if you went in thinking this is going to be an ex-bourbon cask, wouldn't you enjoy it more, you think?
Dude, it's so funny you bring this up, and it brings up a great question. For folks out there who been sipping malts for a while, have you ever had a whiskey where you knew the maturation, but goddamn, it just doesn't align, or you swear to God there's bourbon in it, or you swear to God there's sherry? One that comes up for me,
Glen Scotia 15.
Glen Scotia 15. The fact that there is apparently no sherry in the Glen Scotia 15
blows my mind
to me, because I swear to God it has sherry in it, but it is apparently all ex-bourbon. This is a whiskey which is saying it's all sherry, and I swear to God there's bourbon in it, because how the hell else is this happening?
And if you blind test me with this, I would say I do like the whiskey. I enjoy the journey that it's given me, but can I detect any Oloroso or PX or any weird, even like Amoroso or some weird, cask? No, to me, this is more of like it does have like a rye whiskey feel to it with the malted bar. It's like a 50% hybrid of malt whiskey and rye whiskey. If you told me it was 50% rye and 50% malted barley, wouldn't you believe it pretty much?
I mean, if I drink this neat, there's no way in hell I would pick it as a sherried whiskey, or like as a fully sherried whiskey for that matter. There's no way.
But even with that said, is it enjoyable? Fuck yeah, this is actually pretty good. It just doesn't have the profile that you would. I mean, if you gave me a Glentronic, a Macallan, and like another sherry, like an Edgedour sherry whiskey, and then you gave me this, and you were like, which one is not sherried, even though they all are sherried, I would definitely pick this one by far. That's crazy, man.
Yep.
I can't get over how different I expected it to be. Huh. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah. So again, this is refill. So I mean, we're talking. I mean, this is essentially third fill, which is it is what it is. I mean, the other one, this one, it makes a little more sense. The other one should be more sherry than this, and I'm not necessarily thinking that they are.
You're saying that this
I'm
second
not
one that
saying
we're
that this
doing,
is that much more less sherry than the other one.
like, yeah, I mean, I got more sherry off the first one than I do this one, which is kind of crazy because it's, I don't know, it's I mean, they're both kind of not very sherry-y, minus the nose on the first one. I think was very sherry up front, but
Yeah.
minus the initial nose of the first one, that's when the sherry is kind of lost. And I remember Dustin was saying that maybe it sounds like they didn't use very good sherry
Well,
casts. It's
sure they
possible.
did. I mean, yeah. I mean, this is third fill. I mean, at 20 years old, it's not surprising that it's that is subtle, but it is almost a little surprising that there's not at least a little bit more sherry in this. I mean, it's there on the nose. You still detect it a bit on the nose. You get it on the finish, but boy, does this thing really arrives as a like bourbon sherry fusion.
The weird thing is, this is where it's going to get interesting at grading this. Is like, okay, since it's not what we expected, even though it's really good, is it going to score as well as it should? It's going to be kind of interesting to see how this plays. If you don't mind, let me give me like a minute. I'll be right back, Eric.
Yeah, yeah.
Take over for a second. I'm going to try to get you. I'm not sure if
I'll
it'll.
take over. I'll take over for a second. I'm just pulling up now. You know what? I
I'll
guess
be right
we.
back.
Yeah. Take your time. What a price on something like this would be. This is a weird whiskey. I mean, this isn't something that you're going to find super often. It almost has a French oak quality to it. So funny. I literally just said that and then saw Cohen's comment, and he's totally right. Uh, Cohen just said it could be the French oak sherry was aged. That would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. It has that kind of flavor to it for sure. A bottle of this, again, I'm just, it's not the easiest thing to find a score on. I mean, well, I would guess this is like 100, probably 130, $140 whiskey. You know, give or take, maybe 150. Tough to say. I agree. Maybe we should. 21 Malt Maniacs in the chat. That's awesome. 22, I'm saying, which is fantastic. Yeah, I think that again, Glenrothes, man, like I don't think neither Telex or I, and we've been pretty upfront about this. We don't know a lot about this distillery. We definitely notice it's Macallan-like nose, but my God, I mean, this is just way. The fact that this is all refill sherry, you wouldn't know it.
That was really pretty good, man. I'm gonna have to trying to think of how to lay the score down on something like this. Oh man! All right, I think I'm ready. If you are,
Go for it.
wow, man. Okay, I'll be honest. Like when he gave me the stats for this, I'm like, okay, Glenrothes. Okay, I'm familiar enough with it. Exclusive malts. I'm like, okay, I definitely know that independent bottling is always pretty good. Typically, I've had lots of Lagavulins by those guys. I've had lots of Highland Parks, other distilleries over the years, and they usually steer you pretty well. 1996, 20 years, 54.5. I mean, this all checks the boxes and rings the bells. Then he, is telling me that this is going to be a sherry whiskey. And I'm like, okay. So I'm in for the ride. I'm like looking at some of the going through the notes and the aspects of it. And I'm like, wow, this is so different. It does have the spice, but outside of the spice, would I notice this would be a sherried whiskey? Slightly, yes, but definitely not in your face. But they are upfront and tell you that it's refill, which is like he said, three fills afterward. It definitely, if they told me it was a bourbon, ex bourbon, I would not think twice about it, because it does feel more like an ex bourbon cask with like a sherry finish, maybe. But is it bad? No, that's the thing. It's a very well done whiskey. It's interesting. I like it neat and with water. It's got a great age statement. They don't do coloring and chill filtering at the exclusive malts, if I remember correctly. And at that 54.5, you can't really beat
Yeah, no,
that.
I mean it doesn't say, but I'm assuming so.
The wow, it the spice level is there, definitely. It definitely has some herbal notes, which makes it interesting to me. Do I wish it had some other factors involved? Yes, that's true. Does it suffer from the lack of that? Maybe in a small way, but not in a crazy way. It the finish is decent, but not as long as I wished it was. I'm thinking this. I want to give definitely above average. How much above average is where I'm kind of struggling with this? Is it to the 4 level, or is it right there? And I'm thinking that I'm torn between a 3.75 and a 4, and that's what makes it tough.
Yeah.
If the finish was longer, I probably would go for a 4. Since it's not as long as I was hoping for, but I love the nose, the palate, the finish before and after water. That makes a big deal. I'm gonna go 3.75 on this one, man. I think I do really enjoy it though.
Right on, man. Um, so I'm going to echo some of what Telex said. This whiskey is nothing like it. I mean, it's so different and unique than maybe what you expect it to be, but it's doing it in a really good way and at a price that, again, this is not an easy thing to buy. This is only 285 bottles, so like we're talking about a really exclusive malt, if you know what I'm saying. Is it blow the doors off? Is it a unicorn whiskey? No. Is it really tasty and good despite its kind of uniqueness and slightly, I don't know, weirdness? Yeah. It's 20 years old. Does it live up to the flavor palette I would want it from a whiskey that's been sitting in cask that long? For the most part, yes. It has a lot of spice, maybe more spice than I would expect. I kind of like that. My bearings on Glenrothes are a little strange, just because, well, it's kind of a strange distillery, it seems like. Telex went 3.75. I am going to go 3.5 on this. I think, yeah, it's a 20-year-old whiskey. It's just very singular. I think it would have, at a good price. I got this secondary market, 120, 130 bucks. This is definitely a whiskey I'd recommend for somebody who's like adventurous, not necessarily a starter whiskey. But it has a lot of good qualities to it. It's really enjoyable. It's like almost borderlines on a Tennessee whiskey, man. Like it's like it's like a went through the Lincoln County process. It's just so strange.
Yeah, it's almost like a sour mash kind of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
thing going on. It's been ages, but I remember when I was. This is telling on myself here, but when I was 15, and I'm from Kentucky, so you have to give me a pass. But
Yep.
what we used to do when I was 15 is go to the, let's just say we walked across the holler, and we go across to
Dude,
the
holler.
to the Kmart and get our slush puppy, and then we would get our slush puppy and we could get a fifth of Jack Daniel's Sour Mash and stuck that sucker in there. We would have
Yeah, man.
a Sour Mash slush puppy. That was the breakfast of a 15-year-old.
This dude killing me, bro.
Isn't that the craziest shit you've ever heard?
Oh my god.
Oh, that's how to damage some whiskey there, man. But it is Jack Daniel's Sour Mash. What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. Dude, yeah. You're not even lying, man. This is like if you're gonna put a Scotch whiskey through the Lincoln County process, then fucking Glenrothes is the one to do it. It's already been through. It's been through. And yeah, let's sneak through the holler, man, and find that barn that's got the illegals still going, and we're gonna find this, man.
I will definitely say that this is Glenrothes is not a distillery I would recommend to anybody in starting out in their whiskey journey. It's definitely intermediate to advanced level, not for the sake of saying that it's the greatest thing ever. It's just that you definitely do have to spend some time with it. You have to be willing to play with some water. You have to be willing to accept notes that you're not expecting it to be there. You're got to be willing to accept notes that you might not think would even jive, that do work, but they're very eclectic. It doesn't make perfect sense, but it's an enjoyable experience, which is kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what we're looking at with this one, man. I mean, I really do. It's an odd one.
Cohen wants to see me beheaded because I drank Jack Daniels in Kentucky. When you're 15 and that's the only thing you can tell some crazy ass, 21-year-old that's willing to get it for you, that's just what you get, man. Beggars can't be choosers when it comes to slush puppies.
Yep.
Oh man. But no, I think that I'm still intrigued enough to get maybe the 18. I'm definitely not going to pull the trigger on the 25, even though it's somewhat manageable. It's just not there. Yeah, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
If the 25 was like 46 or 48%, then I would be more like willing to chill out a little bit for it. But since they're all like at 43%, even if you go with the 18 or the 25, I mean, am I really going to get that much for my 25 with that same ABV? I don't think it's going to be as good,
One thing I got to mention as a bookend on this one, Telex. This is 54.5%.
It's really great ABV, man.
Ain't it? It drank real well for something that with that ABV.
So I bumped it up a little bit for that extra ABV and the 20-year age statement.
It really drinks well for that.
For the craft, I'm like, I give you a 3.75 for the craft on that one. I mean, it was, it might not be my favorite cup of tea, my wheelhouse, but I respect it even more because it's not like your typical sherry. It's not like your typical anything Speyside. It's kind of its own brother from another mother. I mean, I can actually kind of, I dig its quirkiness. It's kind of like a quirky kid that, doesn't know where it really fits in. It doesn't know where it stands, but it's a quality kid.
Yeah, totally.
It's quality enough to fit in there to have a sippy on the higher end 20 years. I mean that, yeah.
For real. Yeah, for real. Totally, man. Totally. I'm going to get a little nightcap pour going here, but I don't know what it's going to be.
I decided to pour it.
This Glenrothes, I'm not sure what it is.
I'm going light, and I went with a Dalwhinnie 15 just to kind of round the. I'm going to give me another little bit of something else to make it interesting. I'm going to do a Dalwhinnie 15 with a Kleinleach 14 to see what I get. I'll be right back.
All right, I think I might just fucking uncork a Scorch. Should I do the scorch? I don't fucking know. Scorch. We got Kelpie, Distillery Release, Perpetuum. I don't know. Lagavulin Fisial, maybe.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
I think I might open the Scorch.
Oh, the limited release.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
think I might do the Scorch. I know I've had the sample. I'm kind of feeling something peated.
That's not a bad thing. I was feeling Delmonte 15 because I do like the basic light Highland, but I'm gonna.
Dalwhinnie, unfortunately, but you know what? I know what I'll meet you with, which is going to be forget the Scorch. Where is it? Oh yeah, I know what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to do. So this is a shout out. I don't know if he's in the chat to Daniel, who found this for me. This is a Balcones. It's the single malt, but it's a store pick French oak. So it's called Maltzilla. It's the Froke Maltzilla. So I'm gonna do this. Telex, you need this in your life. You will get a sample from me. This shit, nice. It's only 3.5 years and it's amazing.
Richard Z wants some notes, baby.
Dude, I'll do my best.
I'm just trying a little blend with the Dalwhinnie 15 and Clownleash 14 to see if I can thicken that up a little bit.
Man, it's good. Fucking Froke, man, dude. So they did a like distillery release of the Froke, which is the French oak Balcones. It was like 3 years, and they're really hard to get. But my boy Daniel found me a goddamn store pick French oak, which is like 3.5 years. It's so rich and sweet and creamy, and like you still get a little bit of that signature Balcones. You remember we did that show with the Brimstone, where you get a little bit of that kind of mesquite.
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot actually.
Distinct kind of flavor. There's a little bit of that in here, but this is next level. I wanted to hate on the Texas whiskey, but man, you can't. It's that good.
It's pretty good, actually. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the Texas whiskey. I was kind of thinking this might be kind of bad, but thankfully I was wrong.
That's 3.5 years.
That's crazy color for 3.5 years.
For real.
I'm just doing my own little blend of a Deanston, not a Deanston, but a Dalwhinnie 15 and a Clownleash 14, and it's actually pretty good. It's like some fruits. Some cotton candy. That's coming from the Clownleash, but I'm also getting the florals and the sweetness from the Dalwhinnie 15, which is why I put them together. And I like the mouthfeel, the waxiness of the Clownleash 14 with that light, fruity / sweetness that I get for the Dalwhinnie. It's kind of a nice combination. Helps the mouth coat a whole lot too.
Yeah. So what do we got coming up, Telex? Can we give folks a little preview?
Sure. I just wanted to see what this ABV was. 46 and 43 together. So we'll say 45% ABV on the combination there. On the new, the next shows we got coming up here. 1 second.
Ooh, I just got some information. I got some whiskey in transit. An order that I made has been updated. I got some delicious rums coming my way.
Ooh.
Plantation single cask Marsala Panamanian rum single cask is on its way to my house as we speak. And
nice.
Got some G4 tequila. Yeah, I have a little home bar liqueurs mixers thing set up in the apartment, and so I needed to get a white and a dark rum, and boy, did I just order the right ones. I think.
When's the first party, man?
Dude. Hey man, anytime you want to come to Chicago, I am in the middle of Logan Square. We are in the heart of like killer food, drinks, all of that. Anytime you want to come to Chicago, you let me know.
I'll definitely let you know when I'm in the area. My in-laws, my brother and sister-in-law
Yeah,
live in
yeah, yeah. You
Bolingbrook,
were saying that, yeah.
over there, so it's not that far. So we'll definitely have to make a little gather. But
Fucking yeah, man.
on the 15th, we're going to look at Eric's favorite, his number one distillery, Akintoshin, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love me some Akatosin.
I'm kind of joking about that.
Yeah. No, but it's gonna be fun because we're gonna do what the American Oak, and then we're
Yep.
gonna do the 21. I'm really interested in the 21
I took
because
I took one for the team on that one, baby. I took one on the team for the old 21. And then we're gonna look at the Linkwood. I got the 12
would you like it? I
Florifana.
mean, did you not like it? Well, we wouldn't want to spoil it. You guys can tune in next week.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I want it to be like a no influence, wide open, see what it happens kind of thing. And then we got the Linkwood 12 Florifana bottle that I found, along with Eric's got a 19-year-old independent Linkwood that's from Alexander Murray, correct?
That's correct.
That's going to be really fun. I want to see what that one's like because I have had some good and iffy Alexander Murrays, but some of them are really good. And Linkwood is one of those distilleries that I do appreciate and like, so it'll be interesting to see. Then we got Speyburn coming up. I got a 10 and a 25. Huge spectrum difference in the years. And I want to see if Eric sees a huge shift from the 10 to the 25. Does he like the 10? Does he like the 25?
I'm looking forward to it.
I've got big feelings in this. This is Speyburn is also done by Tybev, who does Anok and who does Ballblair. So it'll be interesting to see how he feels about. Have you had a Speyburn before this deal?
No.
I think it'll be for a fun ride. Then we'll be looking at some Old Pulteney in July. It should be the 15 and the 18, the new stuff. It'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
And then we got some Holland Park Dark and Light, possibly, or Fire and Ice. I think we're doing the Fire and Ice. We already did the Dark and Light, actually, didn't we? Yes.
We did the Fire and Ice.
We haven't done the Fire and Ice, but we did the Light and the Dark already, though.
Well, we didn't do. No. We did the Light and the Dark. We didn't do the Fire and Ice.
Right. So then we'll be doing the Paul John Christmas edition and the Emirate Atama around July. Then it sounds like.
Oh man, that Emirate Atama has been sitting over there staring at me.
Right. We gotta get with Stephen. We gotta get with Stephen Connor too. Stephen Connor's going to join us for that show and have an Emirate Atama with us. It's a peated port whiskey that you guys should enjoy. I think. If you can get a bottle, I highly advise you to join us when we tackle that one, because even though there's not a whole lot of bottles of it, it's pretty damn good. So it'll be fun to take a look at all the notes in that one. He's got an Akintoshin 3-wood and it's decent. Had a sample of the 21, which is okay. Didn't inspire me to drink about ever purchasing. But yeah, it'll be fun to take a look at some of these other ones that we got coming with the. And I agree with Andrew Page on the 3-wood is actually probably Akintoshin's one of their better bottles, even compared to some of their older stuff, which is kind of interesting how that works. If Canada gets some more barrel-proof bourbons, someone else might know more about it than me. I guess he's looking at some of these Canadian whiskeys. Let's see. American Oak, yeah, they're iffy. They're they do things kind of like an Irish distillery does, where they do the triple distillation on the Akintoshin side. I halfway enjoyed the American Oak. I thought it was pretty decent. The 12-year doesn't really faze me much. The 3-wood I thought was actually pretty good. Maybe that's going to be their star bottle out of the 21 and some of their older offerings, because it'll be interesting to see what we think about some of these other ones that we're going to take a look at down the road.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of good shows coming up, man. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm even looking forward to our Akintoshin show next week. I have to admit, I mean, a 20-some-year-old Akintoshin to me is like not necessarily like I have had some of the younger stuff and I've been really disappointed. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to taste like, man. And you've had a couple sips, so you probably have a little bit of sense of it, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what you think about both of them actually, in how you feel one rates against the other and things
Yeah,
like that. It's gonna be interesting. I wonder why Cali gets so many Balcones picks. That's kind of crazy.
dude, Cali gets everything, man. I'm telling you, like Cohen's not lying. Like, I've seen it. I've spent a lot of time out there in recent years, and like, man, let me tell you, dude, their prices are like unbelievably good. Remember when I sent you those pictures of that Lagavulin 9, the Game of Thrones edition that they were selling for $24.99?
$20, man.
They just had a whole
Jeez.
stack of $24.99.
I would have bought a case of those, man, 'cause I
Dude,
love the 9. I like the
I
9
wish
a
I
lot.
would have, man. I was like, fuck, this is too much, man. Yeah, Cali kills it on the whiskey.
I should probably at least find a friend out there that can order some stuff for me.
Oh, I mean, maybe a guy named Co, last name N. I don't know.
Yeah, Cohen, we might have to talk and see if we can get some like little special
He's
deals
gonna be your
going.
mule.
The 3-wood, I think you'll enjoy it, Paul, even more than the 12, believe it or not. Even though it's an NAS, there's something about that 3-wood, I'm not sure what it is, that I thought was actually pretty well done. But I have a sweet tooth, and it's one of the sweeter whiskeys, so that's where you have to be careful on that. I might enjoy it more than some other people, but if I had to pick one out of all the ones I've had, that's one of the ones I would actually gravitate towards more than the others, believe it or not, which is kind of strange to say versus a 12 or any other age statement or some of their other things. So, anything coming down the pike for you, Eric, down the road here pretty soon?
What's that?
Anything coming down the pike for you?
Not much, man. Since the move, I've been trying to keep it on manner mode, man. I'm not buying too much. But
I love the back display you've got going on there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I finally, so it's the majority of the collection. I still have about I have 5 bins worth, like big plastic bins worth of stuff. I mean, I have my like Lefroy bin right here of just stuff that I don't have room for yet. But for the most part, I've been able to get everything up. I mean, a lot of it's behind other things, but I've been able to get most of it up. I really like it. I got my like watercolored Isla picture still, and get this whiskey thing. Yeah, I mean, it's all come around really nice. I'm happy about it, and it seems like it's a good setup for the next iteration of the Malt show and for our show. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm digging it.
I'm trying to decide what was. I was thinking like, what's your showcase bottle, and I'm trying to think. It's really tough to nail down when you have this many bottles everywhere. It's kind of funny. I thought surely I'd be able to.
It's like it's just there's stuff behind it that's different. Like what are you gonna do? And you're in the same position.
Yeah,
when you become a degenerate like us.
Yeah, I was thinking I've got a Springbank 19 port cast that's like just absolutely just insane. That's great. That's probably one of the top bottles next to like the first edition Ardbeg Supernova from 2009. Other than that, it's really tough to really pick a favorite because even though I might gravitate towards like Isla / Campbelltown, I really love a lot of space sides I've had. And even though they're not really specialty bottles, that Highland Park 18 is really hard to beat, compared to other straightforward core bottles.
Yep.
What is that? If you had to pick like a go-to core middle-aged bottle versus the Highland Park 18, what would you pick, you think, if you had to kind of find one?
Oh man, that's tough. I'm not as much of a lover of the Highland Park 18. Now, granted, I've only had the Viking Honor, but or the Viking Pride, whatever the hell. Middle age, you're
One of
saying
the
like
Vikings.
18-year-old? You're saying like, yeah, right, Viking, whatever. You're saying like an 18-year-old?
Or like a middle of the road core offering that's not crazy high end 50, 40-year thing, but it's not the NAS 12-year. It's kind of like their staple, like their
Yeah.
go-to bottle.
Well, yeah, I have a couple. Glendronach 15 Revival.
That's a really good one, yeah.
Bunahaven 18.
Ooh, yeah.
Honestly, yeah, those two. Glen Scotia 15.
You kind of reminded me of something earlier when you were talking about the Bunahaven thing. And one of the things that really got to me was the fact that I loved Isla, and I already loved, like you, and I'm exactly like you, where I fell in love with Ardbeg, Lafroig, and Lagavulin like first.
Yeah.
And then when I heard about things like Kalila, and then Bunahaven was kind of strange because I'm like, it's an Isla distillery that's not known for their peated work. That to me like blew my mind. It's like they're on this island of peated greatness.
Right.
They don't even depend on the peat. Their basic whiskey is so damn good. All they fucking need is sherry. I mean, that's the funny thing about it. If you think about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I think that, like, yeah, I think that's totally right. Their heavily peated stuff is, I think, really good. I mean, the Crockvana, which is it's a travel exclusive. Like, you and I talked about this 5 years ago, and I remember telling him, like, "Oh, dude, I got the Crockvana. Like, that's a really good whiskey."
And if you ever had a chance to have the Arena Grain, the red wine cask one,
I have not yet, but I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
You got to get that, man. If you that was, I don't have it out here, but man, the Krugvana and the Arena Grain are some of the best Bunahaven whiskeys that are travel. But even though they're so-called travel retail exclusives, if you do your homework, you can find these whiskeys and order them right now. Believe it or not.
Yeah, and they're fucking good, man. The Krugvana, I was really impressive. The other one I was going to mention, so I said Glen Scotia 15, Bunahaven 18. What was the other one I was going to? So this is a tough one. So Balvenie 15 single barrel, even though it's like, now you got to look and see how dark it is, but my God, is that good?
It's so good for. Is it still 120-ish,
yeah,
or is it more than that?
115, 120. Sometimes I see it upward to 140.
It's hard to find a whiskey that's 15 years, that's single barrel, that's that first fill sherry thing going on, man. It's really tough to find something to even equal that at 120, 130. I mean, that's a great price, I think, for that whiskey.
The other one that I would mention is kind of an interesting dark horse, and not always as easy to find as it should be, is Glengoyne 15.
Yes, you nailed it. That's one of those. It's not readily available in the U.S. Is it travel retail, or is it?
No, it's not travel retail. It's just that it was. I think it's been discontinued.
That's what it is.
It's not easy to find for whatever reason, man.
It's because of the popularity. Because I remember when I started my whiskey journey like 6 years ago or so, 5 years, and around that time, that's when it stopped being so prevalent. And I really had to dig to find that bottle, and it was it's gone. Yeah, Louis was even saying that thing is gone. But that was one of those. If you could find it somewhere, even for secondary market prices that are not crazy, it's actually worth it. Definitely a pickup, I'd say.
Yep.
Those Wicked Pete's are really good too on the Balvenie side. Balvenie is one of those that, even though they're not as bad as Macallan, they do have some name price thing going on that I'm not really a fan of. But some of it is legit, where it's like I can see why they pull these higher prices in some of their malts.
Yep.
The Tune is a good example of that, where I'm like, wow, they have an NAS, but yet we know it's great, and that we know it charges a hefty price tag to pull. Is it worth it? And they do have some really good bottles out there that really can't justify that.
I agree. All right, Telex, I am going to begin to sign off here, man, but it's been a good good time here talking Glenrothes. And for folks who haven't yet, if you're going to stay for after hours with Telex, I don't know if he's staying up for after hours, but
We'll see.
do so. If not, but no matter what, smash that thumbs up button. Show some love. If you haven't subscribed to Telex the Whiskey Tech, now is your time to do it. We are here every Tuesday talking whiskey, doing different distillery tastings, and of course, if you haven't yet, Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews is my channel. Whiskey reviews drop every Friday. I got one coming up. Deanston, 17-year-old organic PX cask finish will drop Friday. And of course, I do a happy hour to lead up to the Telex and Malt show that you're watching right now. So thank you guys all for the support. I'm going to sign off. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Telex, my friend, I'll catch you next Tuesday.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having a little fun with your favorite distillery.
Yeah, let's do it. Akin. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
See you, man. It's gonna be fun. I wish that he had the 3-wood to try, because I think he would actually like the 3-wood. And we might stick around, old Andrew, if you're not gonna. You don't have to jump ship just yet. If you're gonna stay up a little bit, that's fine. Where they put the travel exclusives, no flights are back on. Yeah, those travel retails are kind of weird. You have to be careful about that. Thanks for the sub, man. Either way, and sub, if you do sub for me, please sub for Mr. Malt. That's Malt Muser. He's got his own channel too. We have a little fun on the side, and he's got a lot of good content too. We only regret that I have to but one like button to smash. Well, I appreciate it, man. That's very cool of you. And let's see what you guys are drinking right now. Yes, Glengarry. Glengarry is one of those elusive distilleries that I have not purchased the bottle for yet. I've had my eye on, just to give you kind of a look at what I'm into. If I go to Wine Searcher, they usually have a good or 1,000 corks, some of the search engines we like to use. Glengarry. I've had my eye on a 17-year Renaissance. That is the newest Renaissance release. But I tell you what, man, I don't know what it is. It is so fucking hard to find. I don't get it. Let me go worldwide delivery and see what we find here. There's a few, man, but it is really tough to find some of this unless you go to like the Netherlands or Dublin or London. It's crazy. I don't get why it's so freaking hard to find, but I'm gonna try to find a really good Glengarry that I'm gonna get for the old bar here, because I don't have my own bottle of Glengarry yet. But the 15 Renaissance was my like open eyes wide bottle of, okay, this is where I should probably go. But 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever age I can find from Glengarry, I'm gonna shoot for that next. That's on my radar for sure. The 3 is not bad, but $70 is not worth it in the world of sherry. Well, I agree with you. You don't have to spend $70 on that bottle. I know I got it for a lot less. Let me see something here. Auchentoshan 3-wood. I want to see something. Oh, you got to be kidding me. There's no way. Oh, I got to type first. Auchentoshan. Still can't type worth a damn. Hold on. Auchentoshan. There we go. Got it that time. Third time's the charm. Netherlands. $70 in California, man. I'm seeing it right now. $70 California. Oh, and you're right. 70 is what you were saying. I think where you're getting caught, Cohen, is the NAS deal. Now, I'm with you. I'm your brethren. I agree. If I can have an A statement, a good ABV, no coloring, and no chill filtering, the big 4 we learned from brother Aquavite. If you don't know his channel, you should check it out. Aquavite is a good guy. Roy in Glasgow. If it doesn't have the 4, it hurts, and it's not as easy to pull that trigger. So I would say I think it's worth 60, 65. If you can find it for 60 to 65, pull the trigger on the 3-wood by far. Thanks for the subscription. I appreciate it, man. A couple of 15-year-old sherries. Benriach 17. Should I say Septimdissum? Is it the Septimdissum? I'm just curious if it's that version or a different 17-year. As soon as you say Benriach 17, I'm thinking Septimdissum. That's a good one. Ooh, the classic laddie. Oh, great pour, man. Have it right there on the shelf. Matter of fact, the old classic laddie. You can't go wrong with that. And if you are not familiar with the Bruichladdich distillery, you should get familiar with Bruichladdich. That's no joke. These guys do it right. I don't know what it is about their marketing. It's weird. I mean, I don't understand why they're not up there with the Macallans and the Dalmore as far as name recognition. They kick the shit out of the craft of those distilleries I just mentioned, by the way. Bruichladdich is probably, if you have to think about it, who is the most underrated Isla distillery in the world? Well, it's not Kalila, because Kalila's name is everywhere. Diageo owns it. We all know Kalila. They're badass. They do great independent bottlings. Blah, 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 right? Okay, push them out of the side. Who else we got? Lagavulin, another Diageo distillery. They've got more than their fair share of name recognition. Pushed to the side. Laphroaig, Beam Suntory. We know those guys. Laphroaig, they don't need any help. They're fine. Let's move on to Ardbeg. Louis Vuitton, basically owns them. LVMH. Push to the side. They don't need any extra help when it comes to name. I mean, I would love to see Ardbeg more in the bar arena. So Louis Vuitton, LVMH, do your job and get yourselves into the bar arena. I can buy a Lagavulin or a Kalila or a Talisker even before I can find a damn Bruichladdich or Ardbeg, and it really kind of pisses me off. When I go to the bar, give me an option. That's it, right? These guys are great. This is a unpeated offering he's talking about here, and they have great peated offerings that we know of. Even the middle of the road stuff with the other Bruichladdich offerings, but they have the Port Charlotte, which is your more heavily peated stuff, which I really enjoy, the PC10, etc. And then you have the Octomore series, which is the really heavily peated stuff. And if you can get your hands on Octomore, by all means, it's freaking glorious. I love it. I got behind on the comments already. Been looking for the last 3 hours to some quarter cask. Are you talking about the Laphroaig quarter cask or the Aaron quarter cask? I know of a few quarter casks out there. So which quarter cask are we talking about, man? Love the peated Benriach. Yeah, I do too, man. That's one thing they do really well. I've had some mixed reactions on Enoch. I like the cutter. I hated the flouter. What do you guys think on the Enoch peat? I don't like the flouter, but I love the cutter. Even though it's more expensive to get the flouter, it's just too peat tangy for me. Kind of like that Tom and Tool peat tang. I'm not down with that. We have a lurker. He's gonna be all like under the microscope. A 3-wood is $80 Canadian. Oh, well, that's cheaper right there. Even better. Snag it. Got my 3-wood at Total Wine for $70. He thinks it's worth it. Yeah, I think it's worth it. I'm right there with you, man. The Solstice. Okay. I'm down with the Solstice too. The Septimdissum and the Solstice, man, are solid bottles. I like it. It is the Septimdissum. Didn't feel like typing the Latin. Oh man, Curiositas 10. Good choice. I like the Curiositas 10 for some basic non-Isla peat. And I will say, out of all the peat that's not Isla that I enjoy, Balvenie and Ben Ryack are up there. They have some really good peat. Oh, Kilhoman is awesome. I love Kilhoman. Through it as a 12 year. I got it closed out last year with the old label. $56 is okay. But again, get a Sherry Musker as cast strength for that price. I hear you. But when you're a spoiled California boy, that's what you go for. Right. I'm sorry, Pen Team, and cheers to Ben. Yep. When is the Olati 10 going to come back? Probably hard for Brooklady due to the popularity of the classic Laddie. I think you're right. I think that's the problem. It is very popular. Looking forward to trying the Port Charlotte. You won't be disappointed. The PC10 is very well done. No matter what version of barley you get, if you have different choices, I know there's Bear barley, there's Isla barley, Scottish barley. There's all sorts of barley out there that you know are options. But I think the PC10 or any of the Port Charlotte stuff you'll feel good about. And it was the Lafroig on the quarter cask. I do love it, man. They're talking about the tunes, the 1509 and the 1401. I've had both. I definitely prefer the 1401, I have to say. Cutter is great, but discontinued. Pete Hart seems to be their new range. Yeah, old Eric, Malt Muser, sent me a little bit of the new Pete Hart, so I'm kind of curious to see what that's like. You can still get Cutter here in Maryland, believe it or not. So if you do your homework, you can still find Cutter out there for under $100. So do your homework and find it. I do like the Cutter. It's a good one. The best and worst 9 versus 5, I believe. Uh-oh. Is that a work thing or is that something different? Going back to see if I missed something from old top shelf Dustin here. Uh, you said last message I saw was the 15 was gone with good riddance, I think. Where was that? Hey, I'm not saying it's the best thing ever, but versus their other, like their 10, 12 spread, I'd much rather have the 15 than the 10 or the 12. I think you would agree with that at least. The Cuirass is better than the Nuban. Ooh, I sense a little throwdown going on here. The Curiositas 10 is better than the Nuban Ryack Smoky 10. Ooh, wow, man, that is interesting to say. Because I remember the Curiositas had better peat. The Benriach Smoky 10 has a better smokiness to it. But peat and smoke are not the same thing, as most of you guys thankfully know already. So wow, that's a good shootout right there, man. I'm wondering what I would pick if I'm in the mood for like a. I know the Benriach Smoky 10 is a Jamaican rum cask. If I'm in the mood for a rum cask, it's very well done. So I might gravitate towards the Benriach. But if I'm in a mood for like a straight up like Lagavulin 8-ish kind of dram where it's just peat in my face and that's it, I would gravitate more towards the Curiositas 10. That's the way I would look at those two. 9 isn't best out of the 1401s, but it's very good. The 3 is heavenly. The 3 versus the 9. Are you talking about the year or what number sequence are you talking about there, Stephen, out of curiosity? The 9 as the worst 1401 and the 5 is the best 1505. 9 versus 5. What are they talking about? I remember when I had the 1401, man, it was great, but it was a certain year. I can't remember which year it was, but the 1509, I was disappointed by the one I personally had, but this was at an expo and at they didn't do it right as far as the way they presented it, but I'm curious. If I was rated the best of the 1509s, they're talking about a certain series, I'm sure. That was an ass whipping. I'm gonna try some MB Roland SB single barrel and a Kentucky Crafts bourbon, which has 78 white corn. Ooh, that's a lot of corn, man. 17% rye, and 5 malt different take on a regular mash bill. Has the funk of corn. And the only thing with me, and I'm from Louisville originally. I grew up with bourbon, but I just don't dig the corn. That's what kills me. I love rye, and I really, really love malted barley, and this is why I stick to Scotch. I just cannot get into the corn for some reason. It's the aftertaste of the corn moonshine thing. I just can't get it. I think the 1509 is a really great whiskey. It tasted like a young vanilla bomb with nothing of value versus that of the 1401. Huh. At both of these Peter Ben Reichs and did a two side by side. Picked the Curiosities twice. Wow, much better mouthfeel and finish, but the 10 was worth a look. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you are going off a mouthfeel, which I didn't even take into account, plus the other nuances of fruit and smoke, peat, brininess, saltiness, sweetness, richness, oiliness, waxiness. I mean, you can go on and on. It does make a huge difference on the overall delivery, and I'm not going to debate on that one. I think the Curiositas 10 is damn well done. The 10 is pretty good too, but the smoky, but I think the Curiositas might edge it out too. I might have to agree with you on that. And a 12 Smoky is better. Yeah, I need to get my hands on that one. I haven't tried that one yet, Andrew. It's on my radar though, because I do have and enjoy the 10, but the 1409 had the 1401 had 9 batches, and the 1509 had 7 batches. Still making that okay. The batches of the particular two. Wow, man, you guys are getting down to the real grit of it here. The 1503. I think I had a 1504, but I'm going by memory here. It's really tough. The 9 is the worst, and the 5 is the best. That's my only gripe with this Balvenie shit, man. When they're charging that much for something, there better not be some crazy ass batch rate variation like you see on some of these whiskeys. I'm a rye fan, not the corn so much either. Yeah, I see you got great taste, my friend. Great absolute taste. My 1509 is the number 2. Corn kills it for me too. I only have one bourbon. The Elijah Craig 519 is really good. Yeah. I still haven't finished the bottle. I was hoping it would be my gateway to bourbon, but no, yeah. That's the thing, man. See, once you've had some really good scotch, it's really tough to go back. I agree. The corn discussion after a single malt and Irish, I go to the rye. Yeah, for me, if you're gonna bother with whiskey, it's gonna be either rye, malt. I like some rice stuff I've had recently. We were dabbling in some Japanese whiskey that was 100% rice, believe it or not. And it did not taste like sake. I'm not a huge sake fan per se, but the Japanese rice whiskey is actually pretty well done, I have to say. I'm surprised. So if you have a chance to try the rice, I'd say give it a go. Balvenie on each 1509 explains what flavors are different. They're intentionally different. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but unless you're a die-hard Balvenie fan, are you really going to have time to dabble into each individual flavor in that? I mean, I'm sure that's why they're going to that degree of difference in that intricate, feel of the whiskey. But, man, I've had some tunes that were not that great, and that's why I'm kind of like, is it really worth the fuss? But I guess it depends on if that's your wheelhouse or not. For me, I've had a good tune. I've had a bad one too. So it's kind of a, and it definitely was not worth anywhere near $300 by any means. But you picked one of the worst ECPPSs. Oh man, Oshi, yeah. I'm familiar with the name. I don't think I've tried one of their whiskeys. Wheat whiskey, not wheated bourbon, is pretty good too. I've got to have it, yeah, because I've had a wheated bourbon that I was not happy with, but wheated whiskey, if it's different, I'll give it a try. What do you recommend? IC86. If you're got a guy that's never had any wheat whiskey outside of wheated bourbon, what would you tell them to try? I'm just curious because I'm actually learning as I go too, and I'd be happy to try what you think might be a good thing. All rice, yeah. Compared to some funk, corn funk is just a new twist, like a blue cheese. Oh man, none of the 1401s are even mediocre whiskeys. They are all different due to the cask used in the tune. Yeah, the mediocre one that I had was like a 1509. I was not happy with. The 1401s I'm cool with. The 1509 was the one that I was kind of like, I don't know. It just didn't wow me like I thought it would after the lengthy time I spent trying to get it to. Eric gave it a 4 out of 5 and it stopped me from buying any more. Yeah. There's too much scotch out there. That's true, man. The whole idea of the tunes is to mix the best barrels they have. Some have Chevy Sherry, some are more bourbon. Yeah, and I guess that's the thing. Maybe I gravitate more towards their heavily sherried whiskeys versus their more bourbon-esque ones. I mean, it's really hard for me to get wowed by a straightforward ex-bourbon or first fill bourbon even cask whiskey at this point. Once you've had a good one like the Springbank Local Barley 16, I mean, do you really need to have any other ones besides that? I mean, it's kind of straightforward, bam in your face. I'm talking about the ex bourbon ones, not the ex sherry ones. Once you have a really good version of that, do you really need another version of that? That's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. 4 out of 5 on the ECBPS for him to look a terrible score. Old Elk wheat whiskey 9%. Let me see if I can do a little look see here. Old Elk. Old Elk wheated bourbon. Here we go. Colorado. Okay. 75-ish. Nice. Okay. California, New York's got it. I'd be willing to try for 75. I might take you up on that. Old Elk straight wheated bourbon whiskey. 95% wheat, 5% barley malt. I'll try it. I'm not a huge fan of the straightforward wheat shit like the I do not like Rip Van Winkle, old Pappy Van Winkle stuff. So if it's anything like that, I might have to pass it. There's a reason why the 1401s are selling for one, the 1501s not. Yeah, that's true, man. Uh, YouTube turned me off more to bourbon than the bourbon did. I wish I never watched those channels. Traumatized by witnessing so many tea bags on bourbon channels. There is a plethora of them. Oh man, that sounds rough, dude. Oh, that sounds harsh. They're a role play for me to get for sure. Yeah, that's the thing about some of these tunes, man. Especially the older ones. Oh, so tough when it comes to the batch still. You're killing me with the no love for ex bourbon. I have some of that will blow your mind, especially in the peated realm. Peated ex bourbon, yeah. I mean, yes, the peated ex bourbon. I could see that's the mission. If I ever get my ass, hopefully soon, back to Knoxville, Nashville area, Stephen, I'll try to bring some good bottles to make it worth your while. And if you can give me something that's in the realm of that ex bourbon straightforward peated realm that will blow my mind, I would highly take that challenge and even do a show with you on that one. That would be fun because it's really hard for me to get wowed by some straightforward ex-bourbon peated casks anymore. I mean, once you've had an Octomore 6.1, 7.1, to that degree, it's like, what else do you really need? But I'll take you up on that one. WT 101 is only bourbon on lake. Wild Turkey 101, gotcha. Do enjoy many different ryes. Have yet to find a Scotch or peated Scotch that was a turnoff. There you go, man. Peated whiskey with great bourbon cask is so great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, once you've had the local barley 16 or like an Octomore that's a straightforward 7.1, 6.1, I don't know. I just much prefer a really good sherried Scotch for some reason. I don't know what it is, but well, I mean, what are you gonna? I mean, as far as when I look for peat or a straightforward ex bourbon, I want a lot of peat in my face. And please, okay, give me something that's above 40 and 50 ppm that's going to really do it. Because I do notice a huge difference between 160 and 250 ppm versus your 30, 40 ppm. And the only thing I could think of that even comes close to that outside of Brooklady would be, I mean, they even have the Port Charlotte series would be up there, but I don't know, man. Ardmore's, yeah, that's true. That 20-year-old I have is actually pretty good, straightforward peat. You know what? Let's have a little pour of that. I'll be right back, guys. Give me 1 second. Let's go for the old dragon glass in this one, guys. This is actually a really good bottle I picked up really recently. This is a 20-year-old vintage Ardmore, which you probably don't see very many of. And I was really happy to finally, it took me fucking forever to find this. It's a Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, 1996, 20-year, non-chill filtered. We don't put up with that bullshit. First fill ex-bourbon and ex-Isla casks. Double matured maturation of the first fill ex-bourbon and the ex-Isla casks. And 49.3 ABV. What do you think about that one, Steven? Have you had this one before? Same to, hold on, let me get back here. Has Dustin, who's random made a ppm scale? It's not a random ppm scale that I'm aware of. It's a true ppm scale. 30 to 40 is what Ardbeg and Lafroig's tins range from. If you go to like some of the Octomore series, they range from 170 to 250, 260. There you go. Long row, I could hang with a long row. I would say that would maybe hang with an Octomore, but I haven't dabbled too much in their state. Some of the well, the 16, yes, but some of the 10s and the 9s are straightforward bourbon versus straightforward, sherry. And I already mentioned that one, so you can't use that one as your comparison. Kilcairn's okay, man, but I mean, after having that 16 year, I was not highly impressed. I thought the 12 was better than the 16. I don't know. Some of their stuff is decent, but straightforward peat stuff, like the heavily peated series, I don't know. I just don't give it. I don't give a crap about Octomore. Give me an ex-bourbon Lafroig, Ardbeg, or Kalila all day long. An ex-bourbon Lafroig. Give me okay. The 16 was horrible, so I hope you're not using that as an option for Lefroy. That Lefroy 16 was not a good, straightforward bourbon cask whiskey. You cannot argue with me on that one. I don't think. If anyone had the Lefroy 16 and liked it, I'd be surprised. But maybe a different one. Give me a specific option as a straightforward ex bourbon cask, and let me know which one you're talking about, which year or which bottle. It's a too warm up taste before you have something complex. Yeah, let's try that. Only had Indie Ardmore's, but a lot recently enforced. Okay, I've enjoyed some of them, but not really enough to collect. I do love that official bottle age, though. Yeah, about 1 or 2 years to gamble. It's now bourbon YouTuber D-bags that don't drink other malts. Bourbon tube, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're going back to 1968, man. That's a whole different story. I'm talking about like out of the distillery core range. I could pick up right now today. That's under 250 ish. Give me a bottle like that. I'm not talking like I don't want to spend $500 to get a decent bottle of an ex-bourbon whiskey. That's for damn sure. I'll tell you that. Longro's the only one I've seen so far that makes sense to me. Finish goes on for a long time. I agree with you there. No, no, no local barleys are all. That's not true. There are a couple of them that are. There was a one that was. Hold on. Maybe I'm missing that. There was one that was a bourbon and sherry. Sherry. Maybe you're right about none of them are all bourbon. I could have sworn there was one that was a 9 or a 10 year that was all bourbon though. I'll look it up and find it just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure there was one that was out there. Dan directly. Catherine 10. Yeah, but it was not good, man. That 16 was not quality to me. Compare me, I would buy the cast strength 10 all day long compared to the 16. That's for sure. Multiple single cast Lefroy's from. Yeah, but you're talking about independent bottlings. I'm not talking about independent bottlings. I'm talking about distillery bottles that are straight out of the gate ex-bourbon cask. It's hard to find a good one that's outside of the Octomore Long Row series, unless you do go and spend a boatload of money on shipping, a boatload of money on memberships and all that shit. It's like, fuck all that. Let's just go for something out of the deal. I understand. I'm not disagreeing with you, Ned. After I thought about it for a second, because there was some that were ex bourbon slash ex sherry or ex sherry, but you're right. I can't think of any that was straight up local barley. But you're proving my point even more. It's really hard to find. That's not just straight up ex bourbon. I don't believe. Let me see. You guys got me go flustered. I haven't even poured my damn drink yet. So let me look up this first. Then we'll come back to Mister. Let's see. Where's the F11 here? Oh, come on. There we go. For some reason, I ended up in full screen. I had to take the F11 off to get out of full screen. But if I remember, I'm pretty sure that Ardbeg had more than just straightforward. I'm probably wrong, but I just want to verify that that's straightforward ex bourbon. That's it. Yeah, that's ex bourbon, but also virgin French limousine oak. Yeah, that's not just straight up bullshit there. Come on, man. That's a lot more than that. Yes, the Lagavulin 12. That I mean, we're splitting hairs here. You're finding like some really, eh. You might have enjoyed it, man, but I didn't think it was that great of a whiskey. But it is what it is. I mean, if you give anything more than a 3 or 3.25 for that, oh yeah, I love the old 18, but the 16 straight up bourbon cannot hold a candle to the triple wood cast strength or the Carriages that was the quarter cast strength. That those were really well done, but you know, a lot of that stuff was not straightforward bourbon casks that you guys are bringing up there on the side. I've noticed so that makes a big difference with that, as well as the where is that one? 1 second. I gotta see something real fast. Yeah, it's really really rough to find. Yeah, the old 18 is up there, but they don't sell it anymore. And the lore isn't straight up anything. It's got a mixture of different casks. Yeah, and that's my point though. Is it's really tough to find a really really good straightforward one that's the old Balvenie 15 single casks were awesome for the price. Yeah, I'll agree with you there. That's true. I wish they were readily available all the time. Some of these 15-year-old single barrel, single cask strength Balvenies, man. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but I mean, it's really, I don't know. It's to me, it seems like it's really tough to find a straight up wow you ex bourbon cask drink without the peat. I mean, I know someone just mentioned the Leche 10, and yeah, I mean, it is straightforward ex bourbon, but it's also got some really nice peat going on in there. Without that peat, I don't think it would be near as good if it was just straight up, straight up ex bourbon. But the 25 single barrel from Dalvany, but not rating good bottles, I guess. I don't know if you can find a 25 single barrel anymore anytime soon. Prices are crazy. A 21 year that recently came out. Aaron 10? That's a new one, right? That could be the deal breaker right there. That's true. If it's because I have not tried their straightforward 10. I've heard really good stories about some of their upfront in your face. That's ex sherry too, man. The 10 is both ex bourbon and ex sherry, so you can't go with that. Sorry. Good try though. Yeah, we got to have a little bit of a whiskey get together here soon, guys. I'm not sure when I get back out to Tennessee, Kentucky. Other than I am going to be in the area. I'll be in Kentucky though, and I won't be near you guys. I'll be in either Breckinridge County or Edmonson County, which is nowhere close to you. And the June 25th area, I'll be in Kentucky, but visiting family, that kind of thing. I won't have a lot of time on the side, but first fill 12 year, yeah, that for I would say that's a good pick right there. That I'll agree that first fill Glenlivet 12 year is pretty damn good for $40. I mean, no matter how you look at it, even though you wouldn't drink it again, if all you had was $40, you might drink it again. Put it that way. You gotta look at it like that sometimes for some of these guys that will not spend over $50 for a whiskey. It's like you gotta kind of have to pick your battles. Not Edmondson, Edmonds. I can't even type, but like a Edmondson County, like that kind of thing. You get the idea of it. It's Nolan Lake area. I'll be visiting mom down there, and dad is in Breckinridge County. If all I had was the $40, drink the 400 bottles that I have. Yeah, you don't have that luxury either there, buddy. You got to spend 40 bucks and that's all you've got. So I bet you might go back to that old Glenlivet 12 again if it's all you had to spend your 40 bucks on. Well, here's a good question for you, Dustin. All you got's $40. And let's say you can't get that Glenlivet 12 first fill. What are you going to buy? That's all you got to your name. 40 bucks, man. That's all you got. I'm wondering what are you going to buy with it. I probably would just save and get like 2 bottles of the Naked Grouse or something. 15 minutes with the family, you'll find people to drink with it. Yeah, no, my family's not bad, man. It's all good. But I do hope that I can hang in with you guys at some point. If I had afford it, I'd go to the bourbon, to be fair. You bastard. You would stick with the Glenlivet 12 first fill. You would stay with the Scotch. Are you kidding me? Come on. Perfect. Both of them are jumping ship. You guys weren't with us. You were bourbonites the whole time. Yeah, Naked Grouse. He's on my team. We're going Naked Grouse time, man. 36 for the Compass Box Artist Blend. That's what I'm saying. I agree with Andrew. The St. Glasgow, wherever that King Street shit is, I'd be buying a shitload of that if I had 36 to 40 bucks. Because that stuff's pretty good for a blended Scotch, I have to say. I like it. All right, guys. I got to wrap it up and go to work tomorrow, but thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. And, amusing me with all these bottles. Let's have a little pour real fast of the Ardmore. Hell, I never even got the damn bottle popped open, but I think that someone mentioned, I forgot who it was that mentioned this bottle, but this is actually pretty fun. As you can see, I've already been kind of hitting it on the side here. If you want something outside of Isla, but it's got Isla peat involved with it, this is a Highland, believe it or not, but this does not taste like a Highland whiskey. 20 years, it's a 49.3. This is the 70-cylinder bottle, but still a really fun pickup, I have to say. I'm so glad I finally found it. I've been looking for this for like a year. It was not easy to find. Ooh, nice peat. Nice combination of herbs and floral notes with the peat. Be doing a proper review of this later on, but neat outside the gate. Don't need anything with it. Nice mouth coat. A little ashy. Has anyone had this Ardmore 20? I'm just curious what you guys thought of it. Has anyone pulled the trigger on this? No, I hear you there, man. It's hard to get into unless you're willing to spend a little money for it. I appreciate it, man. Copper's Craft Reserve, something like that, maybe. This is actually not bad, but Little white ashtray mint thing going on. Unless you like that kind of stuff, you might not dig it, but not too shabby for something a little different outside of the Isla Gate, but still have the. If I had to pick the peat that they used for this, I'm leaning towards Kalila. It's not like an iodine TCP kind of thing like a Lafroig, so I don't think that's it. It doesn't have the earthiness barbecue like a Lagavulin would. It could be Brooklotti, but I'm leaning towards more Kalila because I'm getting like a little bit of vegetal, herbal stuff going on. A little on the sweet side. If you like a sweet peat, it's definitely there. Never had any really Ardmore that I really loved. Yeah, it's definitely different than other ones. Have you had any distillery bottles, Stephen? Have you tried any of the distillery bottles, or has it only been the independents? As it does make a bit of a difference when it comes to this stuff sometimes. Um, it's definitely heavily, heavy on the vanilla side of things. This is definitely more like I don't detect uh, sherry. This is more of a straight up ex bourbon type of cask, so it's kind of fitting that this would be in there. It kind of reminds me of that like Peat Week from Balvenie. It's got that kind of feel to it. Maybe not as like heavily on the smoke. I detect the peat more than the smoke on this one. Even though there's subtle smoke, this is definitely more of a peat forward offering, I'd say. 96. Interesting. Yeah, it's I could see pros and cons. We'll just keep it at that. In the night with some RB 19. I've got the batch one still in the closet. I'm kind of nipping off and on. I might have to end the note in the same thing there. Tiki Slam Beer and San Cristobal El Principe cigar. Oh my goodness, man, you're going all out. Never bought an Ardmore, but had some tastings. Gotcha. Gonna have a dram of the 17-year Glendalough Mizunura. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. Can't believe what people are paying for the 19s in the UK. MSRP is really what it's worth, not anymore. 19s for what distillery? Are you talking about the which 19s? Springbank 19s, or which ones are you talking about there? That's not a curiosity. Before we head off to the sunset here. Hmm. What is it, Stephen, about the Ardmores that you didn't like? Is it the herbal, floral kind of notes that come along with it, or is it a what is it about the Ardmore that you weren't into? I'm just curious. Oh, the Ardbegs. Can't believe that people are still. Yeah, I would not go above 280 to 300 on the Ardbeg 19. I do think it's worth the 280 if you can get it for that, but if it's more than the 300, I wouldn't bother. It's a good whiskey, but it's not crazy money worth it. I agree with you there. An ex-bourbon like a Flint 50. Yeah, but you're going back some years to get that beautiful 2015 Lagavulin 12 that you're talking about there. That's the catch. And if you bought that bottle right now, I'm sure it would cost $300 or $400 probably at this point. Because I know retail back in the day it was 140, and if we're talking 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 6, 7 years difference, we're talking at least $100 to $200, man. That's the catch. I believe the Ardmore 30 wasn't the guy I'm now. Was my first old Scotch wasn't great. Was it a distillery Ardmore 30 or was it an independent 30? I'm just curious. 220 for this Ardbeg 19, and that's all it's really worth. Well, you got fucking lucky on that because I guarantee goddamn to you that you can't get it for 220 anywhere else. So whoever gave you the 19 for 220 got a hell of a deal because the regular retail is 280 to 300, and that's like 90% of the places I've ever seen from the beginning of the sale of the first batch. But if I only had to drink this 15, I could live with it. I bet you would, because that's probably the best Lagavulin 12 that ever existed is the 2015 or 2016, somewhere around there. I've had some great Glenteeth bourbon casks. I'd like to get my hands on those. Give me a list. I'd be willing to try them. So I had an Alexander Murray 19-year Glenkeith that was pretty good actually for low 200s. What's low? Spey might be, yeah. Tertini cast strength. The Spey is one of those really different whiskeys that it's kind of off the beaten path. Let me see something. You might be onto something there. I've heard good reviews on that one. I've never tried it. It's been on my radar. I've had the 18-year Spey and actually liked it. Didn't blow my socks off, but it was decent. I'm not getting a cast type from the Famari. It's 46%, and it's the first ever peated release from Spey. Interesting. Okay. Launched at the end of 2016 and 46%. I can't get a straight off cask. That's interesting. I'm not sure if that's just only bourbon, but it might be. The 20 something I've seen for 600, I think last time I looked. Let's take a little look here and see what we get for Mr. Cohen here. Specifically the Ardbeg 20 something. Let me see what we get. 500 to 530, 566, 599. The lowest I'm seeing is around 500-ish, so I think one of these is a 21-year bottling that I would rather have, actually. I might have to pick that one up. I see the 21 for 500. That might actually not be that bad of a deal. 250 to 275. Just bought 3 more. Jeez, man. Distillery, the Ardmore 30. Interesting. I haven't had the okay. Did it have herbal / floral notes that you didn't like, or what was it about it that you didn't really dig? I'm just curious. Because that makes a big difference. If you're not into the, herbal / floral things, sometimes that's just the way the distillery is. So, yeah, I know you're talking about the Lagavulin 2015. That's a little too. I don't know. It's borderline too high for me. I'd say 200 on that. 220 on the 2015. I think that the 220 is about where I would draw the line on that one. It is good though. I'm not down in that, but what you guys are willing to spend on some of these whiskeys is pretty eye popping to me. My price, including shipping on the 12s. Yeah, if it's including the shipping, then that would be better. If it's 220 plus shipping, that's getting a little steep. But 200 milliliter of the Ferrari, and I'm a big fan. I've heard good things about that one. I'm gonna have to pick one of those up just for giggles. 15 has a bit more of a premium. If the only up these 19s 48% would be so nice. Yeah, no, I hear you there. The 21-year 20 something can be found discount. Okay, that's what it is. That's the one. Yeah, the 21 20 something, I'm seeing it like 500, but 530 for the 22-year, 500 for the 22-year. So 500 to 530 I'm seeing for the 20 something. The Soldier 21-year. Oh man. Oh, the 20 something one. I want the original 21-year. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want the 20 something 21. I want the original 21. I think that might be a little different. Let's look at that one and see. As I don't think you guys even have that one. Maybe you had. Maybe I might be wrong, but that one's a lot more tougher to find the true original 21 year from 2016. 46%. That is ex-bourbon. That's true. That's got the peat though. See, you're depending on the peat to save you. That's where when you say 100% bourbon, I want ex-bourbon without the peat. Oh man. Well, give me a price at Telex at Outlook.com, Gary K. If you're gonna sell a 21, let me know what it is. If it's not the 20 something, if it's actually the original 46% ABV, 21-year old Ardbeg from October of 2016, I will gladly hear your offer on that one. Telex at Outlook.com if you don't mind. Tears, I've got 20 something for a little over 300. Wow. Yeah, for 300, that's a good deal, man. That was a 2008 bottling of Ardmore, and I had it 6 years ago. I don't recall too much. No, I hear you, man. I want an old distillate Ardbeg. Yeah, fucking yeah. I want the OG. Good to see you there, Swami. How you doing, man? The 46 from 2016 was a 20 something, wasn't it? No, this is a straight up 21-year old Ardbeg that does not have the 20 something label. This is the straight up. If I could capture the picture, I'd show it to you. Go to the distiller and you'll see what I mean. Look up distiller Ardbeg 21 year from the 2016 October. You'll see what I'm talking about. 600 for it. Oh, ouch, man! You spent 600 for the Ardbeg 21. Oh man, because I see it right now for 516 in the Netherlands, man. I had to say no go on that one. But that's 737 after fees. Ooh, you might be right. Never mind. Scratch that. 737's too steep. I can't go that high for it, man. Probably what you're looking for on that one. Ah, that's a pain, man. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. You're probably looking at 700, and I won't be able to go that far for that. Not saying it's not worth it. Never tried it, but wow, that would be a fun one to open. But for $700 to $800, man, I'll wait for the next Ardbeg 21. I think for that price, that's just too high. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you guys. Got to go to work tomorrow. Unfortunately, had a good time. Um, I'm iffy on the Ardmore 20. It's enjoyable. You have to be in the mood for the herbals and the florals with the peat, the ex bourbon cask. It's there. We'll do a thorough review of this in the future. I'm kind of indifferent right now, but I'm only halfway through it. Once we get down to the nitty gritty right here, then we'll be able to do a review and properly take a look at that one. And you can't go wrong with a straightforward Clown Lace 14, guys. I'm telling you, it's cheap. It's got an age statement. It's 46%. It's got a great mouthfeel. I can't really knock it for anything. And in fact, I'm going to pour a little bit of this in my Ardmore 20 to see if it will give it a little bit of a boost, maybe. For that mouthfeel, it's got a good ABV still at 46, so I'm not really downgrading it too much at 49.3. Got the old dragon glass going on here. Ooh, more fruit, thankfully. A little more vanillas. Still got my peat, which is nice. 120. The 21 from 2016 was part of those releases. 23 came in 2017. No, the one I'm talking about is specifically the Ardbeg 21 that is not labeled as a 20 something. It's literally got 21 on the label. It does not say 20 something. So I'm not sure if that helps you differentiate the two, but that's the one I'm talking about. They just called it, they just didn't call it 20 something, but 21 years. Well, the one on there's ones that are labeled 20 something, which are the 23, 21, 22, but there is a flat 21 year that is 46%, 21 years, ex bourbon cast, straightforward, but it's just labeled as a 21. That's what I'm talking about. It's got good ratings. It's not in the same ballpark or area that I see for the 20 something, which is a more of a second. The 20 something is more of a 23-year-old offering. 22, I know one like the side, but let me see. 20 something. And the 20 something 23s are ex bourbon and ex sherry anyway, so I'm not sure either way, you know. Whatever, man. Whatever. Yeah, that's one that I would rather have. I would rather have the original 21-year-old Ardbeg than the 20 something. I don't care if it's 23, 22, 21, 20, 20, 50,000. It doesn't matter. I want the original Ardbeg 21 blank. That's the one I'm wanting to kill. I know the one you're talking about. They first just called it 21 and then went to 20 something. Yes, I'm aware of that. Yes, but I'm talking about I want the original 21. I don't want the 23, 22. I've already tasted them. They're decent, but they are sherried. They're not straightforward bourbon cask whiskey like that original 21. That's the difference. Because it is the original ex bourbon, it doesn't have the sherry. It's straightforward old school Ardbeg for we're talking 2021 now. For 2016 it is an older, deal. I'm looking right at it, man. The 22 23 is the one I'm looking at is ex bourbon ex sherry. I'm just explaining the 23-year-old 20 something. You did a good blend together to match the compass box from last time. Yeah. Regardless, I'm just telling you what I'd like to see. Whether you like it better, that's fine. I'm just talking about if I'm looking for an ex bourbon, straightforward whiskey that might wow me, that's the one I might go for. The 23 is outside the thing because we're talking ex sherry. Then I'm looking for ex bourbon, straightforward in your face whiskey that's going to wow me. The only one I can think of outside of the some of the Springbank stuff is the Ardbeg 21 possibly. If you don't like the sherry, 22 is the best. Yeah. No, I'm just saying it. I'm just trying to look for one that is going to wow me. That's the whole point. Is I'm trying to find the one that's going to. But regardless of all that, I would much rather find the you're you're going against what I'm looking at. If you go to the Stiller Ardbeg 20 something year 23 ex bourbon and ex sherry casks, I'm copying this right out of the I just cut and pasted it from the thing, so I'm not sure where you're getting that information from, but that's not correct. I've had the 22 and 23, so if the 22 and 23 don't wow me, then that's not gonna do it, I guess. Then you know, that's cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that the original 21 is better than the 22 by any means. It's been a long time. I never had the original 21. But I'm just saying I would like to try it. That's all I'm saying. I'd like to try the first Ardbeg 21 unscathed, no water, no craziness, just out of the gate. Give me, no, I mean, I like the 23, 20 something, but it was sherry. And that's what my whole point was is that I would much rather try the 21 ex bourbon by itself to see how it stacks up against that 20 something with the sherry 23-year-old as a comparison. So that's all. Oh man, that'd be crazy if you do. And hold on to samples. I might be able to get my ass out there to Tennessee at some point. You never know. So let's see if I can make a little drive by at some point because it would be fun to hang out with you and Kenny and Mo and some of the guys. Maybe if I could. You do have that one, you lucky bastard. Maybe I can do a drive by at some point in the near future. Not sure how near, but I would love to be able to do a drive by and do a pour. When I get the 25, am I going to do the full run in 21, 25? Oh, I would kill for that 25. I've had my eye on that since I saw the release. Yeah, I had a 22 and 23. I liked both. I thought they were both well done. I did prefer the 23 because I like the sherry, but I'm willing to try that original 21 to see if I like the ex bourbon by itself more than that 23. Yeah, there's lots of different intricacies out there, man. If you meet in Tennessee from Atlanta, that's cool, man. If you're in Atlanta, yeah, that's not bad at all. Maybe we could do a little meet up at some point down the road. We'll have to see. You just got one of the 25s. Oh, what the hell? What do you mean it's going to be hard to open? Dude, dude. If Justin, I'm sorry, not Justin. I'm going to call you Justin now, Dustin. If Dustin and myself and anyone else shows up with Mo and Kenny and we're all salivating and drooling and wanting so badly to try the 25, Stephen, how could you deny us of that glory? that would be that would be the best thing in the world. I can imagine what an Ardbeg 25 tastes like. I thought I had one today, but fell through it again. Oh man. Yeah, come on up. We'll have to have a little get together. The 21's got tired cast. The 22 had more of an active bourbon. I'll have to try it maybe again. It's been a while. I want to say I had the 22, but 21 and not the 22. I'll have to. It's been kind of a 800 plus tax locally. Jeez, man. Gosh, that's crazy. Because it's not worth the investment for a price, but a great investment. Yeah, but man, how could you got one and not open? Why didn't you? Damn it, Steven, why didn't you buy two? So that way you could have one for your resale and have one for the guys. Next time you have an option, please open it up to Dustin, myself, and some other people because we might throw in to get a bottle of that. Um, and maybe do some sort of split thing. I don't know. If I'm at Stevens, I'm not interested in the 25. Okay, well, I would still like to try one glass. Is all I'm saying, man. I know he's got much better stuff, but I appreciate it, James. Thanks so much. Give me a thumbs up before you head off, if you don't mind. I appreciate it. The 22. God, man, you guys are killing me. It is really way better than 19. I imagine it is, yeah. It's also a hell of a lot. It's $200 more. It better be better than the 19. $200 idiot tax, yeah. It kills me. That's why I'm not the first one to go buy it. But I just want to try it once. That's all I ask. Just to try it once. I'd have just to send you $900 PayPal to get that. No, we should probably go in on a bottle just to try it. Just to split it up and say at least we got a chance to try it. If you get like 5 or 6 people to put it in a bottle and you actually split it milliliters wise, you could actually probably could get a good deal that way. Maybe, I don't know. If I can get my Friday, yep, yeah. If you guys have an idea on a bottle, let me know. Telex at outlook.com. I'd be happy to maybe throw in on trying to get just a sample of one. I mean, I don't need a lot per se, but if I had enough to do a water and a neat sample, that would be fun to try to see if it's worth. But the prices, man, are just crazy. They're just insane. Yeah, let me know if you find. I'm not splitting an Arctic 25 if I don't get that box. Oh, that's insane. Oh man, you guys are killing me. But I'll have to keep it on the radar and see what happens later on. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Oh, wow, 30 to 35 for picks here. That's nuts. But if you have an idea, recon, intel on a bottle, telex at outlet.com, please give me a heads up and I'd be happy to jump all over it. Uh, go in on a bottle, that kind of thing. But because I'm all about tasting it, I never buy to resell. To me, that's just bullshit. I just want to taste it and move on. Because the odds of me getting a bottle, unless it's really, 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 really damn good, I'm probably not going to go for it again. Because there's so many other things to try out there that we haven't tried yet. So, with the exception of a couple bottles that we all know are great, we go gravitate back to. But that's the gist of it. Thanks so much. Thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate it. And see you guys next Tuesday, Tasty Tuesday, for some fun with a little bit of some Akatoshin. It'll be fun to dive in, and then some Linkwood. So some fun distilleries to come, Spayburn. And see you guys soon. It's launch of off for now.